Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claret and Booze. Welcome to our talkHAMMERS show. Back on a Sunday night. We did do a show last week, didn't we? But we didn't do a phone in. We done it on a Monday night.
On a Monday, wasn't it?
Yeah,
did it on a Monday. But yeah, we'll be doing our phone in later. I don't know if you all saw my show earlier on, which is basically what we're going to be discussing because there's fuck all else to discuss, and that is why we haven't got any new players. Why is all we're really talking about? The only things that sort of feasible it looks is people going out the club still. You know, it just seems crazy. And obviously the messaging that's been put out there that wasn't just put out by us, not this time. So I mean, obviously I added a bit more meat on the bone, but this has been peddled about now through. It was on 6'2", it was on Claret and Hugh. I think Gonzo done a bit over on Hammers Chat on it as well. So loads of people have spoken about it. So we should be safe without being shot down in flames, Gary and John, to talk about this. We should be all right.
Well, it's obviously being peddled by somebody, somebody up high, shall we say?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. But how's your weekend anyway, John? All good?
Yeah, good, mate. Today I was working, working on a Sunday. That's what I do. Yesterday I went over to watch West Ham versus Dagenham and Redbridge. Had an enjoyable game, to be fair. Good to see a live game of football. Seems like it's been forever.
This is going to be our first talking point. It was a comment that was put on our community section, so we'll get back to that in a minute. But you enjoyed it. You had a good day over there, yeah?
Yeah, mate. It was good over there. I enjoyed it. I was very impressed with two players in particular, both of which youth players. Mbamba, obviously, it's the first time I've seen him play live in any length, if you know what I mean. I've seen him a few minutes here and there, but he looked very good. And also Potts looked very, very good. And I know people will say it's Dagenham and Redbridge. I get that, but even playing seasoned professionals or non-professionals at that level, some of the youngsters can struggle. Some of them did struggle, but those two definitely shone for me.
They gave us a good game. It was quite physical, weren't they?
Yeah, it's always going to be, isn't it? You can't read too much into friendlies. I mean, people do get very carried away, but at that stage, a lot of them, it was quite a strong team over there. We had a lot of players playing. Yeah. A lot of the ones that didn't go to Australia, like Soucek, Soufal, Kera, they started. So it was good. It was good. It made a bit of a meaningful friendly. You know what I mean?
Soucek made it more meaningful, didn't he?
Well,
I think we saw the sign of things to come there, didn't we, John? Soucek as captain.
Well, yes, you did. But what you forgot to mention there, Gav, was we saw two things: captain, but also captain who's going to get on the ball more and get shoved off the ball more.
Right.
So did you not? Have you not seen it, Gary?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen it.
It's bad. Yeah, Ariola didn't cover himself in glory either, did he?
I don't know what he was doing, mate. He fell over. I don't know what he was up to. But look,
the problem with Soucek now is everyone knows his weaknesses. So whilst he could go back, he could revert to that role that he had in that season he was successful. Now people will just get in his fucking face and crowd him off the ball, and he'll panic. It's a weakness. It's a glaring weakness. That's why we can't find anyone to buy him.
You get found out in the Premier League. It doesn't take long. But look, touching on that. On this topic, you might be out because I know you do this with your boy John after the games. Did you take Freddie?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
you took Freddie, right? So this is from Daniel Wakeman. He said maybe a topic of the chat tonight could be why West Ham are becoming less of a family club. At Dagenham yesterday, kids were waiting in a pissing down rain for autographs of our so-called stars that had already left before the end of the game in a taxi, so as not to be bothered by the fans. For me, it was a fuck you to our young supporters.
Yeah,
I mean the team. Well, yeah. I mean, I can't. I'm guessing Daniel's talking about after the game.
Yeah,
outside of the stadium. What I would say to counter that is that when all the big stars were taken off on the 60th minute, Moyes' favourite number, as they walked down the sideline, Soucek, Kera, and one other gave their shirts to young kids as they were going down the tunnel. So I'm not saying what Daniel's saying is incorrect, but I'd counter that with that. I don't know what happened after the game because I didn't stand around after the game.
It's not like it used to be generally now, though, is it? I think I don't know whether it's a safety thing now, whether they're not allowed, but generally they don't do that anymore. Like not en masse. I mean, they used to, didn't they? They used to sort of. If you wanted an autograph in your book, you used to be able to get one, didn't you?
Yeah, I think a lot of it. So when I went over there yesterday, I spoke to a couple of people who watch our show, and I bumped into a guy called Chris who was with his young son, who was about 7'1", so God knows if his son. But Chris, if you're on here, mate, nice to meet you yesterday. But he was from Amersham, and he was talking to me about last year. Him and his boy went to one of the French pre-season games against, I can't remember who it was now, maybe Reims or someone.
Yeah.
And he said they coincidentally stayed in the same hotel as the West Ham team.
Right.
And he said the security, because they was waiting for the players to come down and things.
Yeah.
And he said the security was going, no, they're not going to stand. They're not going to have photos with you. So I think it's the security being overprotective. I think most players, not all, I think most players will stand and get you a photo and an autograph. And even though the security told them to move away, Chris said that even though the security told them to go away, when some of the players came down, he showed me photos of, I think they was with Rice and a few others. So the players, some of them do understand, but it's the club and the security. It's like they're protecting their assets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
That's right.
So, but there are some players who, as we know, get off buses with earphones on and walk straight through and don't want to know. But
Hate that.
And certain strikers at the club that sort of come drive out and get out their car and tell people to move and stuff like that. There was an old boy, wasn't it Antonio?
Yeah.
When he's in his red tracksuit when he got out and said, "You can't block the road. You got to move."
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but you see, I think a lot of it comes from the club.
I think it's part of your duty, though, John. I think you should be allowing half an hour to an hour after training. If there's people that want to fucking sign autographs, you should be allowing it.
I agree.
Definitely for friendlies and training and stuff like that. That's what that sort of thing should be for.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember taking Ross and Reese when they were younger down to Upton Park for friendlies, pre-season friendlies, and honestly, the players were just only too willing, coming round all around the edge of the pitch, signing. When they weren't on the pitch before they came on, signing stuff. Remember, they got pictures with Ginge, got pictures with loads of people. Another thing they've done, though, talking about West Ham stopping being a family club, is they took the, I suppose, lifetime tickets away from the Lyle and Greenwood families, which I thought was just crap. What a crappy thing to do.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is behind it.
We've got a 60-odd thousand capacity fucking stadium. Why would they do that?
They can make themselves another
And I'll just say,
10 grand a year or something like that.
I just want to interject because obviously Daniel Wakeman's the one that asked the question and he's put a response to what I said.
Yeah,
that's bollocks, John. Only Daggers came round after. I didn't say after the game. I said when they got subbed off, they walked down the sideline to the tunnel and took their tops off.
Yeah,
I saw Sushek and a couple of others. After the game, it was only kids left on the pitch. I'm not saying that.
I can get this, and I know there's quite a few people that talk quite passionately about this. I think Nicky Hawkins and Ryan had a chat about this a few weeks ago on a Friday night pint, and I think he had a similar. It was Nicky with his son. He had a similar thing as well, and it does. If you wait and you feel like they just run out and they just jump on the coach, and you've been waiting there for fucking ages.
Yeah,
you know that is it is wrong. You know, I mean they're kids. They're kids at the end of the day. I don't see, you know, and it strikes me that unless somebody ain't got a camera phone there ready to sort of catch a video of some kid crying as you're handing them their shirt, nobody's really interested. You know what I mean? It's kind of. I think you said that, John, didn't you? You said you felt like that was one for the cameras.
That was take 3. That was the third take. Let's get that fucking kid to quiet 3 times. You know I know it's quite wicked.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, this is what Danny was saying. But
this is funny. What Happy Hammerettes just put in the chat down here. This was funny.
What?
When Danny Ings did the Harry Kane celebration after his goal yesterday, he did the jump and the. Did you not notice?
Did he?
Oh, yeah, no. It was quite funny. It was quite funny.
Danny Ings didn't play against Dagenham.
Huh?
Danny Ings didn't play against Dagenham.
Oh no! Not well. Then it was he done it after the goal he scored the other day.
Against Spurs.
Against Spurs, yeah. She's Happy Hammerette's thrown me because she said yesterday it was after Spurs.
Happy Hammerette, get things right now. Don't come in the chat. Amateur.
That's right. It was Cornay and Mabama, wasn't it? Yesterday, who scored?
Cornay and Mabama.
Yeah.
I mean, people were. You know, people were saying that Cornay after yesterday's play looks like the next best thing. I mean, he was all right, but he still went down a few times in a heap. I've got to say.
Zuma said he looks like it's like having a new player, John.
Well, it is like having a new player because he weren't there. He weren't there last year, so it is literally, you know, like having a new player. But the thing is, look, I'm sure he could be a very useful player, Cornay, but tell that to his legs. You know, he's forever injured. He just feels like it's down to him to prove otherwise now, but. throughout his entire career. This isn't an anomaly. What's happened with us? He's been like this throughout time. You know, strange fucking injuries, and this one that he had, which really worried me, was didn't the French doctor say he's only seen it twice in 25 years or something?
Yeah, I just hope that it's one of these situations. You don't know. You don't want to. Instinct tells you that he's fucking prone to injury and he's a nightmare and he doesn't try very hard to play and all that kind of stuff. And he loves it. He loves time in the treatment room. But that could actually be wrong.
It's on form. Look, what's this one? Maxwell Sorbet.
Where? I'm sorry, I'm not getting off.
Sorry, mate.
You keep knocking it off, you knobhead.
Sorry, mate. Go on, I'll leave you to it.
But it could actually be
Maxwell Sorbet.
What's this one here? El Chico says, John, is it true Benrahma went off injured? He went down a few times, but the Dagenham players were, quite rightly, I suppose, if
going in, getting stuck in.
They were leaving a bit on them. And
right.
with people like Benrahma and Cornet, they're not used to that, and they're probably thinking, bloody hell, maybe. So I think it was, I think they took him off more precautionary, but you know what I noticed with Benrahma yesterday, right? I love the guy after last season. I thought he was one of our better players, obviously, right? But what I noticed yesterday was he definitely, I've never noticed it. I've never picked it up before. So sorry if it's obvious to you two, right?
Go on.
He looks for the foul. He runs into them on purpose because I think he thinks he's a free kick specialist. I mean, he did it at the bar with one of the free kicks. But I think he wants free kicks all the time in and around the box.
We've got a few that do it. Bowen do it. Benrahma does it. Mate. Antonio does it. That they all, and that will only get worse. If heaven forbid, I don't think we will. If we sign James Ward-Prowse, whenever we've got any player that's within 25 yards of goal, it's going to be an instruction: hit the fucking deck, run into a player, win a free kick. That's what it'll be.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. Yeah,
but but it was
one in each leg. But look, I suppose should we move on to the mean? Gary, I haven't asked you. How was your weekend?
Doing
well, it's a bit fucking late now, isn't it?
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. Look, you sort of know how my weekend was. It was very, very average. Average.
It's about as good as mine. About as good as mine. Yeah.
What happened? I don't know. I still ain't got to the bottom of it.
No, just fucking dog problems. That's all. That's all right. But it's all sorted now. But yeah. So look, let's get on to the main topic of conversation. I've already spoken about this earlier on, for about 4 hours. So I've given you all a bit of a precursor into what we're going to be discussing. But it's with the news. Look, we were all told that, and this was from the same sources, Claret and Hugh, 6'2", other people to give us information, all said David Moyes has got a veto. They all said that. Yep. That's what we were told. Well, that narrative has changed massively this week. Like as in last week, and we got a lot of this information last week as well. And that's not the case. He hasn't got a veto. It's you got 4 people. I mean, for a start, the number 4. How's that going to work? So you got a 4-person committee that have each got a vote on a transfer. And as I said earlier on, this is one where we know David Moyes got blocked. David Moyes got blocked on this young lad who's supposed to be joining us, but he hasn't yet, has he?
No.
So that was 3-1. Now, what I'm going to say is, obviously, we'll talk about this in more detail. But if this is the case, right? If you're the manager, how can you imagine how you would feel? Now, I'm not supporting Moyes because I want this kid to come in. This is what I'm saying to you, where this isn't going to work. How did I expect Moyes to deal with this player if he votes against him and says, I don't want him, but then they go and buy him anyway?
Well, firstly, who voted for who shouldn't be in the public domain. That should be secret.
No.
Even if it was 3-1 or 2-2 and someone did a decider, actually, the count of the votes and who voted is not a discussion for anybody, right?
Yeah.
As far as a manager goes, he's getting a player perhaps he didn't vote for. Well, again, that shouldn't be of his concern because in the real world, he'd be a first-team coach and he would have players bought for him and he'd have to use them.
I agree. But what we're talking about here, if the dynamic was, which was how we all expected it to be when Tim Stuyton came in, which was that he was going to be the director of football, Noble, Newman, Moyes report to him. He controls everything. That's fine. But we know that isn't the case, all right? I mean, I would love it to be the case that he was the head coach. I'll call him the head coach on Twitter just to piss his little followers off, Moyes' little followers off. But I know he's not. I know he's the manager. So that being the case, he still feels that he is the manager. Now, what I'm saying is, if you're going out and you're spending 14 million on a player, that's still a chunk of change. It's still a lot of money.
Yeah,
you're going to need, you're going to need the manager to buy into this and play him. We know he's not going to. We've seen it with Downs. We all know, everyone knows that Flynn Downs was a Warburton signing because Warburton's daughter worked for the agency that Flynn Downs basically was part of.
Yeah.
He was brought in. Never once did he get played central defensive midfield. He didn't get played in central defensive midfield. He got played as a number 10. He got played out wide. He got played everywhere other than where he was supposed to play. Basically, Moyes set him up to foul. And that's what he will do, because there are narcissistic tendencies there with David Moyes with these types of scenarios, aren't there? There are.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's narcissistic tendencies across the board with David Moyes, including the way he plays, the substitutes, substitutions he makes, the players that he picks, the players that he wants to sign. By the way, I've got something quite interesting that I want to go through, comparing Sam Allardyce's last year to David Moyes' last year when we get past this conversation.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, so yeah, I think, look, he's a severely flawed character, David Moyes, and when you look back at the transfer record, I didn't realise it was quite this bad. But this guy is a creature of habit who never changes those habits. You know, he firmly believes in everything he does, and he never sways from doing it that way.
European champion now.
And if you look at exactly, he's even more determined that he was right, even though it's his first trophy in fucking 19 years or something. He's determined that he was right. Now, if you look at his transfer record, I was surprised when I looked this up, right? He's been here in 2 spells, and there's literally only, I think, 4, and I'm talking about first-team players, not kids, right? I think there's only 4 players, and that happened last summer, who have not been signed in the last 2 weeks of the transfer window. And most of them have been signed in the last week. Many of them have been signed on the last day, right?
But that to me, though, Gary, that to me says that it's been more luck than judgment, because that means that there's been no strategy that's gone into these transfer windows. As I said in that video earlier on, how do you go from Onana to Paqueta? How do you go from Broja to Scamacca? What the fuck? How does that happen? So you surely you want a certain type of player to come in and do a certain job for you, and then you get that list drawn up before the transfer window opens, and then you start approaching players. But it just seems like with us, we fuck around for the majority of the window trying to get what appear to be primary targets. They leave it for the last 10% of the window, and then it's panic stations. You're getting your Vlasic's coming in. You're getting all these other players. And look, some of them will work, but it doesn't mean that the way they do it is right, because I don't know any other club that do it this way. We'll put it this way, John. Fulham, I said earlier on, Fulham are in they're in a mess at the moment because of, even though Marco Silva has turned down Saudi and he's staying at Fulham now, so they're a little bit better than what they were. But Mitrovic is going, so they've got Jimenez in. But now we are the only team now, John, to have not made a signing, and we've sold our best player. Our best player. How can that be?
Because we're run by an inept fucking gimp up above. Because at the end of the day, we can blame Moyes until the cows come home, right? And we can, and he's not blameless, obviously, right? But at the end of the day, who is allowing him to still be in control? Who is allowing him to still be running our football club or having final say on the players that we bring in? You know, at the end of the day, the type of man that Moyes is suits Sullivan 100%, and vice versa to some extent, because it wouldn't happen at any other club. It would not happen at any other club. But it's like Groundhog Day all over again. You know, we called this when Starton come in. We hoped for better, but we surmised that more than likely the power struggle would get even more vigorous than it already is. Yeah. And all the stuff that's coming out now, i.e. what you reported earlier and what's been the same reported elsewhere, it's only being filtered from one place, right?
Yeah.
And why is that? Because, again, it's covering your own arse. Don't blame me. I'm trying my best.
Let me tell you, right? This is, as John said, this has come from the top. And it's very much pointing towards David Moyes as being the problem. Some of the messages that I didn't relay and I didn't read out is pointing towards David Moyes being the problem. So that's coming from the top. So it's the same sort of thing again. So, you know, that's why he's been kept here. The guy's a fucking firewall for Sullivan.
They've kept him here to blame him, haven't they? That's really.
Yeah, that's what they've done, and he'll take it. He'll take it. You know.
He'll take it. Yeah, he'll take being the puppet.
They never intended. They never intended to spend a load of money in this transfer window because, like I keep saying, like I've said from the beginning, this is Moyes' last year. He will serve the whole term as long as the club's not going to get relegated. He will serve the whole term, and he will not get a renewal, but he will get the bare minimum to survive in this transfer window, the absolute bare minimum. If I compare it to Sam Allardyce's era, Sam Allardyce in this summer, he actually spent net, if you take the incomes and outcomes, he was given about 25 million to spend. That was about it, and that wasn't too long ago, right? That was 2014-15. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
So it wasn't too long ago. So probably you could double that now if you want to take into account inflation and stuff and the improved Sky money, double it. Yeah. So say 50 million. And that's what I think loosely we'll end up spending. But the difference is, I mean, you just got to look down this list of players that he brought in Allardyce in that window to realise he was a very different type of manager and someone who didn't mind a gamble and preferred young players as well. You know, he brought in his last window, he brought in Enner Valencia, Chiarte, Sacco, Cresswell, Daniel Emery, yeah, all right, Amalfitano, Alex Song on loan from Barcelona, and Carl Jenkinson. I mean, what a set of signings that is. I know, right?
I know. That's a brilliant window, really.
And let me just quickly, because I don't want to dwell on this for too long, but it's really interesting. That season, if you remember, we were in the top 6 for several weeks. We were at 4th, we were up to 3rd, a few more weeks, and then Boxing Day, we lost to Chelsea, and we came down like the Christmas decorations. And the reason for that is, it was obvious that Sam knew he was going, Sully knew he was going, right? So in January, they're sitting there, comfortably in the top 6. No way they're going to get relegated. Didn't bring anyone in. I mean, he brought in a couple of no marks, right? Like Sam Byram, I think he brought in, for no money. And then we ended up, we just fell down slowly. We only won, I think, 3 more games against 2 of the sides, 2 out of 3 that got relegated, and Sunderland. So we beat Burnley, Hull, and Sunderland. Yeah, in the whole second half of the season after being 4th.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, right, look, well, hopefully it doesn't go that fucking way. But it looks like it's going to.
But I was stunned, because I always, when I think of Allardyce and Moyes, I think of him in a similar vein. When I look at these signings, 24-year-old, 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 21-year-old, all right, Alex Song was 27, but Morgan Amalfitano cost bugger all, he's 29. But yeah,
Allardyce was backed with no money, was he, John? Not really. He had to wheel and deal. He had to wheel and deal.
Yeah. He did have to wheel and deal, but what's changed now with Sullivan? Why is Sullivan now so inept and so keen to constantly look? He's throwing Moyes under the bus. I'm not saying Moyes shouldn't be thrown under the bus, but that's what he's doing here, right?
Yeah.
What's changed now? Why did he allow Allardyce to sign who he wanted? It would seem. And yet he don't allow Moyes to sign who he wants. So it would seem.
Well,
it makes no sense to me.
He does, John.
At the moment.
John, I think what Allardyce is clearly is someone who looks everywhere, all around the world. Probably through his favourite agents to try and find good value young players who are going to bring into the team. Doesn't matter that they've got Premier League experience or not. It's just they fit the right profile. Probably watches a video of them and he's got scouts and everything else. That is a guy who is not going to put all his eggs in one basket because he hasn't got many eggs, right? The amount of eggs that Sully gave him. Moyes, it's like he's managing Man United still. He wants to go out with 105 million and put 50 million down on him, 40 million down on him, and have fuck all left. And his priority is, got to have Premier League experience because they've got to hit the ground running this year. Well, and you're going to buy someone who's 28 without any resale value. So you're just going to flush that money away, are you?
Yeah. Hang on a minute. But the thing is, Gal, do we not think that this is another vanity project in regards to Polina, for example, who you're referring to? It's the same thing as when.
No, I don't think. But from the sounds of that message, it's Moyes wants Polina.
No, hang on a minute.
Sullivan don't.
Okay, what I'm saying is it not? Does it not stink a little bit of the Calvin Phillips bid that we supposedly made back then?
Yes, it does. It's like
that's what I'm saying.
We tried.
But do you know what the flaws are, though, John? In these plans, do you know when we've gone for these players in the past? It's what David Moyes can't seem to wrap his head around because these targets are Calvin Phillips and players of that ilk. He can't quite understand that these types of players probably don't want to play for him.
Yeah.
But no, but
this is the other thing, because this is one thing bidding the money, but then I'm not talking about Polina. We can double his money. That's different. But with the likes of fucking Calvin Phillips and James Ward-Prowse when he was a Premier League player, he turned us down.
Yeah.
We're not a desirable team to play for because of the style of football for players that are already in the Premier League. I don't think that we really are. If you're already in an established Premier League club, you don't choose to come and play for David, unless you're a centre back. You might love it as a centre back. I don't know.
Not even the thing is, listen, just disregard Moyes' style and all that in a minute.
Yeah.
How can a manager in his last season now of a contract without any, he can't confirm to these players that he wants to sign that he'll be here after this year. That player could be sitting there thinking, well, I'm going to play for you for this season. A new manager comes in next year. We know managers have their own likes and dislikes. And that player could be sitting there going, what do I know where my career is going to be at the end of this season? New manager might come in and I might not be wanted.
Yeah,
so how is he going to attract people as well of any note?
We are getting carried away with this, though, and I think Balls Deep here has put up a comment which brings us back onto track a little bit, because this is what we were speculating a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah. I do think this is a case, but I'm worried it's not the case, though, Gary.
We're all worried about that, for God's sake.
I'm hoping that this is the case, because then it makes sense. But I'm fucking really worried that it's not. I'm worried that, it may look if there's a takeover coming.
Oh yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it.
I'll take a hit for 6 months. I'll take it. You know, if we're going to be shit for 6 months, fine, whatever. Yeah. But it's still nerve wracking. It doesn't seem right. And why play all these silly games though? Why go to all the trouble of playing all these silly games, the same games that he's always played? If there's a takeover coming, why is he still trying to sort of manipulate the West Ham
power hungry, egomaniac?
Well,
it doesn't make any sense.
It kind of is, but it's his way. Nick is his way of basically pushing back and delaying things so we don't spend a load of money. By the way, you know that Allardyce season. This is just to show you things never change, right? That Allardyce season, we were heavily linked with Lukaku and Julian Lescott.
Yeah. We're still linked with Lukaku now.
But I mean that happened every season, if you remember. Just extended chases, and it's just like we tried, and that's what I think is Polina. No way he intended to pay 50 million for a 20-year-old.
Look, it was very clear on that message. They knew full well. I mean, they basically said that we've bid 50 million. But they want 80. That was never going to get accepted. And as I said earlier on, people are going to say he's 28. Who do Fulham think they are? That is Fulham's player.
Absolutely.
If you want to go and get a player off of them, they've got to replace him. So as far as I'm concerned, if they want to ask fucking 200 million for him, it's as simple as that.
But you'd imagine that we'd walk away now, wouldn't you?
Well, unless they want to keep on wasting, they might go back with another incremental bid, because 45
million
got turned down. Now we'll go back with 50 when they want 80.
No. I know you wasn't massively sold on him, Nick, but I said in my video that I did whenever it was now, 40 million for me would have been a fair price. I would have took that and walked away. Maybe not fair for Fulham, and I get what you're saying, but now getting 50, 60, that's ridiculous.
I think 40 million would have been the top that I could have swallowed.
Would have been top, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I could have swallowed for him. Yeah. But yeah, and then look, because like I say, look, he is a good player. I'm not saying he's a bad player. It's statistically, he's one of the best in Europe in that position. So it would be a good signing for us. But like I said, it makes no business sense. We're not a cash-rich club. We're not going to get 100 million through the door every 2 minutes. We're not going to be in Europe every fucking year either. We're not going to have that sort of extra money coming in. It's not, especially when you look at what we're doing now. Unless we win the fucking thing next year, we ain't going to be in Europe the year after, are we?
No. And rumours tonight, again, more rumours, because we're linked with a different person every day, is that we're back in for Ajax's player. Was it Alvarez?
Well, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? That would make more sense.
35 million.
Yeah, 35 million, 25 years old, better player as well, better player.
Yeah, look at the end of it, but do you know what? I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated with this, because I've watched a few of the pre-season games now, and I'm having a look at Downs.
Yeah.
Why would you not? Why would you not give him a go in central defensive midfield? I think it's a very, very. I'm not trying to sort of play it down that role, but you're effectively a defensive shield. That's what you are. He's a very noble player. People criticise his passing ability, but players in that position, they're tempo setters. They pass sideways and backwards. They control the ball. They turn the ball over. That's what they do. They don't look for the worldy pass, because when you look for worldy passes all the time, you fucking lose it. You don't do that when you're the last line of defense. You don't. So I just don't know why we haven't given that a go. I would love to have seen him play alongside Deck last year, but that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we haven't done that. And maybe upgrade Souček. Upgrade Souček. Get an explosive box to box. Let him be your number 6. I mean, is he that shit?
No, I'm not against it at all. I like him. I'm not against it.
We've got some responses in the chat regarding Downs. So Dan Hunter says Downs was poor second half of the season when he got minutes. What
position though, Dan? Yeah. What position? Number 10, right wing?
Did he
when
play
did you see him in the CDM?
Did he play once in the CDM? I don't think he did.
Didn't he play number 10 at Anfield?
Yeah. It's fucking embarrassing. I mean, the poor fucker was running around wondering what to do. I mean,
Paul Sullivan says Downs isn't good enough.
Well, have you seen it?
But this is Paul. This is what David Moyes has the ability to do. For instance, if we bring this lad in from Man City, right? I'm not being funny. He's played his entire career by the looks of it on the left hand side. He'll play him on the right, or he'll fucking play him as left back or something. Or what he'll do, he'll play him out on the left with no support. There'll be a system that won't give him any support. He's got the ability. You've got the ability to make someone look bad or look good. You have when you're a manager. And it's not. Look, listen, Vlasic weren't his signing either. He can't have been, because if he was, that's a sackable offence. If Vlasic was David Moyes' signing, he deserved sacking after that.
I was going to say, he basically shoved Vlasic. He shoved him out on the left wing when he's actually a number 10.
A number 10, and never, not once did he play him in his right position. Not once.
And then went to Italy.
Now look, but the thing is, this is what I'm saying. As a manager, right? Even if you ain't brought a player in, you're responsible for the assets that you look after. You know, you got to grow everyone. Try and make the most out of everyone. Could you tolerate that if you was his fucking boss?
I think you're doing. I think, look, a modern day footballer, a professional footballer should be adaptable, should be able to play different positions. However,
you ain't got pace. You can't be a winger.
No. I know. Listen, let me finish. Because I knew you was going to get in. However, when you're brought to a club to be a certain position, you've got to be given a go in that position at the very least. Otherwise, what is the point of taking you on in the first place? Yeah. We knew what Downs' strengths were playing for Ipswich. We knew the position he played. Yeah. We brought him in. He had a few games. I thought he looked decent. Then when he did come back in, he was played all over the gaff. It makes no sense. It's like you're trying. Sometimes you think
trying to undermine him.
He's trying to undermine somebody.
Yeah.
Whether it's the player or the person who brought them in.
It's a political thing the whole way through. I'm sure it is.
You're not a very nice bloke, are you? If you're willing, just because you've got a problem. For instance, let's take example one of that. You got a problem with someone else, and you're using Downs. You're fucking a player up just because you've got a grudge against whoever made you buy him.
Yeah,
because that's what it feels like.
And I just want people to know in the chat, all right? I'm very cynical about Downs, whether he's got the ability to do it or not. As well, I am. But I would like to see it with my own fucking eyes first. I'd like to see him given a chance, given a run of games. You can't make a judgment based on what he's done for us because he's never once played in that position. Like I said, playing him in a number 10 role is ridiculous. You're talking about a player that does play safe, sideways and backwards. He doesn't play forward.
Yeah, Scotty R. These are the games that I'm talking about. When Downs started as midfielder in European games, he was man of the matches. They were the games when he stood out. Now, I know people will say, Dog and Duck FC. But look, he didn't look good there. He didn't look good as a number 10 or a fucking left winger or wherever he was being played. So play him where he looks good. It makes no sense. No sense.
I know. Even in your own mind, surely in your own mind as a manager, John, you'd want to see yourself before you gave up on someone, wouldn't you? Really?
Do you think that's what 100%. This is, though? Do you think that's what this is? All these failed attempts at signing CDMs is like Steiden and Sully's way of making sure Downs gets a game. I wonder.
I don't know. Well, it sounds like we're trying to flog him. I mean, we're trying to do him as a.
Moyes is trying to flog him because he wants to give him part X for JWP.
Him as a part exchange for James Ward-Prowse.
Like when you go to youbuyanycar.com and trade in your old motor.
Yeah, I know.
Irish Tommy says, imagine going from a Pep run club to a Moyes run club.
like
poor Bargy is in for a culture shock.
It's like his ear, Tommy. It's like your ear, mate.
Tommy said, just hear it now, Ken. Just hear it. Problem there.
But you know what the crazy thing is, though, from what we've seen of that, because the thing with Borja, why I'm so excited about him if he comes in, is because I was hoping he was a David Moyes player, because I think he would be perfect for what I imagine David Moyes wants to do next year, which is play counter-attacking football. Because apparently, what I watched the Man City, it popped up on my feed, and they was talking about Borja, and they reckon the reason that he hasn't, or the reason that they're kind of farming him out, is because he isn't the right type of player for Man City. He's direct. He's amazing, but he's not the kind of tricky player. He plays on the last shoulder. He's quick. He's fast. He's rapid. He is literally just direct. Perfect for us, but maybe not for them. So that's what I'm saying to you. I was hoping that he was going to be on board with this, because I do think if he'd be. Have you seen him? He's fast.
I don't know nothing about him. I've read his stats.
Johnny's so fast, mate. Do you know what he's likened to Mane, Sadio Mane, in the way that he plays? But he's fast, and his movement as well. Like some of the goals that I saw, you want to see the way he arcs his runs and everything else. Yeah. He's a very talented player.
I read a stat that over the last 2 years, he's had a direct goal involvement, whether it be a goal or an assist, every 55 minutes or something like that.
Bloody hell.
Over the last 2 years. But there is that argument, Nick, there's no reserve team football anymore. He's only playing with like-for-like kids. There is that argument. But look, I'm not doubting his speed ability. I'm just saying. I'm trying to play devil's advocate.
Well, look, but if you look at the amount of kids that have moved, if you look at the amount of kids that have moved on from the City Academy in recent years, Lavia, Poro, players like that, they've all gone on to do good things. And this kid is the highest regarded player from that academy for a while.
I think what Garino says here, does anyone really know what's going on behind closed doors? How often do your sources get his spot on? Well, I think we've had a pretty good record, actually, with the sources. They've kind of come out pretty bang on. But you can never say you're absolutely certain. You don't know exactly what goes on, and to a certain extent, I think things get leaked as people want them to get leaked to shape the narrative, right? But that aside, this is why football's so fucking wonderful, isn't it? Because
when everyone's reporting the same thing, it's been.
I mean, for instance, Barney McGrew earlier in the chat, Mr. Cynical, came out and said, Sean Whetstone by any chance? Listen, he reported something similar on 6'2" earlier this morning. No, I didn't get any direct information from Sean Whetstone, but I've had almost the same message now from 3 people, which means that this is being fed from the club, because the same story is coming out from different angles as well.
Sounds orchestrated, doesn't it?
It sounds orchestrated, yeah. It's a narrative that they want us to all, and I'm sure this is the case. But you know what? Going back to when we all made this prediction, John, about how fucking ridiculous this situation was going to be and how we was all going to struggle, I don't think any of us could have really imagined it was going to be like this. The 4-man voting system for a player. That is comical. That is fucking comical, isn't it?
It is comical, but it is comical. But we. It's like he thinks we're thick as. Sorry to swear. Do they think we're thick as shit? Do they genuinely think we have no idea about football? I mean, we can see, mate. He's just trying to deflect the blame time and time again. And I'm not saying Moyes is blameless. Believe me, I'm not. But it's all down to the fucking geezer upstairs. And I only hope, I pray to God that Steiden or Tim, whatever his bloody name is, I do hope that Tim is been planted there by any potential ownership, and I literally would pray that is the case. I don't know, and I think it's a risky strategy, but I fucking hope he's been planted there in preparation for next season or whatever.
Well, if he's working for Sullivan, if he's been employed by Sullivan, he's working for Sullivan, then he'll be very, very unhappy at the moment with the way that things are going. He will be, naturally. So hopefully it's not the case.
But is Sullivan also that thick that he'd employ someone, pay him a good wage for them not to do their job?
So. Well, he brought Noble in without a fucking job description, didn't he?
Blaming Noble.
I hate to keep repeating things, but going back to Garino's point of how do you know what goes on behind the scenes, I think it doesn't take a wild guess. It's not a wild stab in the dark to suggest, Garino, that you don't think David Sullivan hired the most progressive, the most highly rated sporting director in Europe. Actually interviewed him and convinced him to come here.
No,
we've never once said on this channel that this Tim Steidten being a plant for a new owner is fact. By the way, that's our theory. Well, I've had no information on that.
We surmised it totally.
Yeah. That's a theory.
If you the thing is about it, And when last year, when everyone was going, we should get Pochettino, get Tuchel and all that, I was adamant that whether we can get them or not is neither here nor there. Sullivan does not want managers like that. Sullivan would not have managers with backbone and their own faults, right? I'm telling you now. So they would never have suited him. So for him to then go out and get this progressive director of football who Man United wanted is totally against the grain.
That makes sense.
It does. It does. Totally it is. But I would like to send a little message out to David Sullivan, who won't watch this, but I'm sure he's got little moguls that will, and we'll report back to him to make sure his message is getting out there. You know, to Monster Munch hands. And that is, listen, we get the message, Dave. We do. But you know what? If it's David Moyes' fault, it's your fucking fault, mate. That's whose fault it is. It's yours. There's no point blaming David Moyes. We shouldn't still be in this situation. He shouldn't still be here. He should be gone. So if David Moyes is frustrating things and making things bad, guess whose fault that is, you little fucking weirdo? That's your fault, mate.
Hang on a minute.
We're not. No, but the thing, but they treat us like mugs. He thinks that he can carry on throwing him under the bus, and we'll keep on blaming Moyes. We don't like Moyes anymore. We don't like you either. You know, this is your fault now. This is your fault. This situation. We're not buying it. Ultimately, this is your fault.
No, who do you undermining?
Who do you dislike
Tim
more?
Stighton.
Sullivan.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, Sullivan.
Nigel's back. Nigel's back. Everyone's been crying.
Undermining Tim Stighton.
There's Nigel's comment. Tim is not highly rated in Germany, I'm told.
I know. And but the fact is, he was having meetings with Chelsea, Liverpool and Man United before we nipped in and, you know, David Sullivan interviewed him, Nigel, convinced him to come to us.
No, David Sullivan interviewed him and then Sullivan, Moyes and Noble had a vote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Which worked because it's an odd number.
Moyes voted against.
So what do we think here in this dynamic? Because obviously, look, something's not right with this fucking signing with this Man City player either. No. Carlos, whatever his name is. But it's not right with him either, because he would have been here by now. Now look, we all know the rumor, by the way, that I put out. I said it was a rumor about Alex Scott that came out, which was that David Moyes basically made sure that the deal didn't happen. It could have been the same scenario, 3-1. Because ultimately every single player, what you have to understand is, and this is right, I'm sure Gary, John, you'll agree with me, before any player signs for the club, they're going to have to talk to the manager to see, you know, because that's who they're going to be working for, to see how they're going to fit into the team and how they're going to play and how much the manager wants them. That is a point at which David Moyes can either make or break any deal that he wants, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
It is.
It is.
So even if he hasn't got, even if he has an unofficial final veto, he can just he can bring someone in and it can go, well, you ain't going to play, boy.
He can make the player. He could just be really
play.
Well, he could just be really offish with the person. You know, he could be really condescending, really offish. You know, if you don't want someone to come and play for you, you can make them not want to come and play for you by how you react, how you talk to them. You know what I mean? There's loads of easy ways.
That's what I'm saying to you. So this kid from Man City, if Moyes hasn't had his grubby hands on the on that side of things yet, then that could still be to come. It could be why he ain't joined yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe it just stinks. It's like Groundhog Day. It's all over the same thing again. It's just bullshit. It's just boring. I know. It's boring.
This is boring now. I mean, can I ask you both? I know we've all kind of we've been clutching at straws recently, saying, you know, Declan Rice going, other players are going to step up. We're all going to be good next year. But listen, right? Just think of this situation. Let's strip it down to the bare minimum. We'll forget the Fornals that's linked away. We'll forget the Skamaka that's linked away. Let's just say the players that we almost know that are going to go. Antonio will go. You know, they want him in Saudi. We'll sell him, blah, blah, blah. So he's going to go.
Colton Cole said he's going nowhere, by the way. I don't know where that was.
Well, I know, but let's just. I don't think we're going to stand in the way of him going. Antonio.
Antonio.
Yeah. So and I think would be mad too if we can get 10 million for him now. Fuck me, you got to take it. But yeah. So Antonio's gone and Rice is gone. So this is a team that struggled to avoid relegation last year. All right, it weren't the seat of our pants stuff, I suppose. You know, we were safe 2 games from the end of the season, but remove the best player from our team and the other most important player from our team, because I think we all agree the 2 most important players in the David Moyes system are Declan Rice and Mikel Antonio up top. They are what makes it work. Are we going to be better or worse next year?
Worse if we don't buy no one else. Cool. Worse. 100%.
Yeah,
100%
no,
going to be worse.
we're going to struggle, and that's why I think, going back to my original assumption that this is just going to be a keep the wheels on the car and keep us in the Premier League.
This ain't keeping the wheels on the car.
No, hang on,
This ain't keeping the wheels
not
on
yet.
the car.
It ain't,
It's keeping
not
wheels
yet.
on the car that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, not yet. It ain't, Nick. But I think this is why we will spend a maximum of half of that Rice money, if that. Right, we might spend 35, 40, maybe 50 million to bring in 2 or 3 players to fill those positions that are needed to be filled. And also, if Scamacca does go, then we're going to have to. If Scamacca and Antonio went, we'd have no. What we're going to do? Cornet, Bowen,
Danny Ings up front.
Yeah,
Although
Danny
Ings has looked. Danny Ings, since he's had his air shape, he's had his air transplant. He's been looking a bit sharper, hasn't
he? Ings and Mabama as a 2, because you've got to play Ings in a 2. Actually, looked pretty good, didn't they?
I am going to be cynical here. Okay, no one's going to like this because we all pin our hopes to the kids, right? There's 2 things here: is he good enough? And David Moyes. I think that it doesn't matter how good. I think personally, Mabama could whack in 6 goals in all of the next games leading up to the start of the season, even if he was Premier League ready. I don't think he'd start him in front of a senior player that was available. So if you've got Danny Ings available, Ings will start in front of Mabama. That is my instinct.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
I know he's toyed with 2 up front. He ain't going to do that when it comes to it. He's not going to. He's going to play 1 up front. I think it will be Ings, or he'll put Bowen in there. I don't think he'll play Mabama. The other thing is, because my prediction is with Mabama is that he's going to do really well in pre-season. He won't score 6 goals in every game, but he will be.
He has scored in every game, no?
Yeah, I know, but he'll be thinking himself, I'm going to get a chance. I think he's going to be starved of minutes the first half of the season. He's going to go out on loan in January. That's my prediction. I think he's going to get disgruntled and pissed off because he's going to deserve some minutes. I don't think he will, and I think he'll go out on loan in January. That's what I think will happen.
I'll tell you what. Every time you see a player go out on loan these days, in this day and age,
they're done.
They're done. They're finished.
They're done. Yeah.
Every player who makes it doesn't go on loan. Right. That's like the old way of doing things.
Yeah. No. But I would love it. There would be nothing better than that, would there? You know, we lose Antonio. Mabama comes through. He's a fucking revelation. He's superb. He's amazing. But the other thing as well, this is what I was going to say to you, just to build on that. Is this not like the worst scenario to bring kids through? Because we're going to struggle like fuck next year. So if they're part of a team that struggle and affects it, it's a horrible situation. You know, like if you bring Potts in and these other players to bring them into this, I don't know if it's the best solution. Personally, I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
Sorry, Gal. Go on, Gal. Go.
No, you don't go. Carry on, John.
What I was going to say to that, to counter that, and again, being devil's advocate, I'm not disagreeing with you. Please don't think I am.
No.
But in some ways, sometimes youth players get brought into teams because of a team is struggling, and sometimes that's when sometimes they can build their careers. Because let's not forget, when Noble was out on loan, I think we called him back because we were struggling in the league. Yeah. You know, and that's where he got his break. Sometimes the negatives around a club can give the players a break. I truly believe, watching Muvamba yesterday, I'm not saying he's going to go straight in and start every Premier League game. I don't believe that. I think at the very least, he should be our cup striker going forward, Carabao Cups and things, right? He's got fantastic movement, speed, ability. He presses he's like a very hungry young player there. And I know, again, it was Dagenham and Woodbridge. I get that. But I think we've got to keep him. We have to keep him. We've got no choice. If Antonio goes, you're going to have to keep him.
No. I think he'll be kept around the first team. Look. Listen, if you go back, I mean, I think we all watched that Wayne Rooney podcast, didn't we? You talking about Wayne Rooney, a generational talent. Moyes resented fucking giving him minutes.
Yeah,
he was almost forced into giving him time and stuff like that. Rooney hated him. Yeah. You know, and like I say, that is a generational talent. He's just. He can't get past this seniority thing, can he? He would rather get someone who's old and on the way down than young and fresh and on the way up. He doesn't seem to see the value in that. Yeah, I don't get it. Similar to the way that Sullivan picks his fucking managers.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he looks at kids these days and thinks that they get things too easily or something like that. Not the way he came up through, the ranks. I don't know what it is, but there's nothing great. Oh, no,
I'll tell you what. Nigel's come up and said, "Any good news?" I don't know. Is there? Have you got any good news, Nigel? We'd like some fucking good news. Come on, we're inviting you on. I'll send you the link if you want to come on.
I've got some breaking news.
Give us some good news.
I've got some breaking news.
Go on.
João Palhinha is forced off match early
Broken his arm
with an apparent serious arm injury.
Oh, poor Fulham.
So we're not going to be back in for. We're not going to be back in for him.
I bet they wish they'd sold him for 50 million now. Well, the thing is, it'd have been pulled from that game. He wouldn't have been played.
Yeah, as he says, Nigel, get on, mate. They want you on the call, Nigel. They want you on the screen, mate.
They want you.
Yeah.
Or phone in, right? But look, is there anything else that we can cover tonight?
Well, no,
I think we've covered. About?
I think we've covered all of the links. I don't think there's anything we've missed. Is there?
There's nothing happening apart from chaos at the top of the club. There's nothing happening.
Oh,
I mean, I'll tell you what about the outgoings? Cresswell, can you see Cresswell going?
I don't think he should go. I think that, I know that you said, or I read it, that West Ham want 5 million for him.
Yeah.
If they offered 5 million for him, he's in the last year of his contract, probably have to sell him. And I know Razor's going to go nuts in the chat, right, people? But
yeah, Razor especially.
Razor's going to go mental with me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying keep him because I want him to be first choice left back.
Leadership values. Leadership values.
Leadership
around the changing room, yeah.
Yeah, I know people go, oh, sentimental and all that. It's not. It's important. It's so important. Yeah, I can't.
Just lost that captain. Just lost that captain.
Yeah, it's so important, but
apparently the Saudis, a bit of late news. There's a big twist in Antonio's Saudi deal, so it's looking maybe true what Carlton Cole said. He's been linked, as you know, with a 33-year-old's been linked with a move to Stevie G's outfit, Al Ettifaq.
Yeah,
giants of Saudi, right?
Yeah.
Apparently they're disinterested in paying a fee for him.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you can have him for nothing then, can you? Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, Gary, John.
Yeah.
After what we saw this is a player that wants to leave. He don't want to be here anymore, right? He doesn't. He's been trying to push a move through. Antonio been trying to push his move through since January on his podcast. Openly.
Yeah.
Is it a good thing to keep players like that around?
No, I mean
that's one I'd like to upgrade on. I would. He's done good things, but fuck me. How long are we going to keep him for?
Hang on. How can we upgrade on him? There's no one in the world that can do that role.
Yeah,
we can't upgrade on him because of the way Moyes don't. There's no flexibility in Moyes.
Yeah.
So I think there's one more bit of news. There's been a vote as to the 3 best atmospheres in the Premier League and the 3 worst atmospheres in the Premier League. The 3 best are apparently Liverpool, even though last time I went there, you could have heard a pin drop. Newcastle second. Again, last time I went there, the away fans made all the noise. And Man United. Really? Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United. Isn't this kind of rigged between the clubs who've got the most fans and can vote? And then worst, quietest. Number 1, West Ham United. Again, bollocks. Number 2, I know the stadium's crap.
But John, Gary is the quietest.
I know the stadium's crap, but we're not the quietest fans.
We are at home. Home. All you can hear is the away fans.
No, not on a good day. Not on a good day. When something's happening on the pitch, we're loud, right? When something's not happening on the pitch, which was most of last season,
I'm not blaming the fans.
Go back to the beginning of the season.
I'm not blaming the fans, Gary. I'm not blaming the fans. You've got to give the fans something to cheer about. We've had nothing to cheer about for ages.
Exactly, and you remember it. Go back to the start of the season before, when we done Leicester and everything else, and Chelsea and Liverpool. The atmospheres in those games brilliant. Anyway, we're voted the worst with 13%. Luton second, even though hardly anyone's been there, with 10%. And third, they could be pleased about this, Arsenal.
Yeah. Oh, right, okay. Have you seen this one? It's Eli Wahi, the next Stan Collymore, not for footballing reasons, that we're linked with.
They called him the next Mbappe on the pitch, but the next That's what someone said. Someone said it to me. He's like the next Mbappe on the pitch. Stan Collymore off it.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, there's a report here that says West Ham have beaten Borussia Dortmund to the signing of Carlos Borges, according to a report in the Evening Standard. So does that mean that it's?
I'm going to wait until I see him in his shirt.
Actually,
it's been talking about it for ages.
Yeah.
Let's wait until we see him in the shirt. I hope it is done. I mean, listen, he's a very exciting player. We like those players that that get you off your seat. He's exactly that. If you're in need of something different, I'm not expecting him to start in front of Benny or anything like that. But fuck me, what an option from the bench. You know, he's going to be tremendous. Some real pace. The only thing is, what does that mean for Cornet? Because Cornet is left-sided.
I don't know, but this guy, he can play either side. You know that, so they're looking at him as a backup
against
for Bowen as well.
Against Dagenham, Cornet was the striker on his own up front. On his own.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't put it past Moyes to convert another winger into a striker. He's kind of done it with Bowen as well. He's like a serial, a series of those, isn't he? Yeah. But yeah, Borges, he can actually play left or right, even though his home position is left.
Well, he'll be playing right when he does play, because Moyes likes to invert his wingers. The other one is Taylor Harwood-Bellis, centre-back prospect from Man City, an absolutely fucking outstanding centre-back. If we got him, that would be ridiculous. Very young, again, at centre-back as well. I don't know how much game time he would get, but he would be just something special if we got him. You know, again, I'd like to think if we start getting these players in, right, you start getting players like that in, and I feel like we're recruiting for the future. Yeah, you know, and that means that, and not the now. And do you know something? I haven't really got a problem with that, because the now is David Moyes. I don't really want us going out getting one-dimensional fucking players. I don't.
And we don't want to. Let's just say we don't want to be miserable on these shows. We want to come on here and talk about things with hope and excitement. We've just signed this amazing player, and this is how it's going to work.
That's what Nigel said. Good news. What good news? There is no good news.
Exactly. It's all so depressing at the moment. When something good happens, I can't wait for something good to happen. But I'm hopeful that Edson Alvarez 35 to 40 talks are ongoing apparently between the clubs. So apparently they crossed an obstacle today. They got over a hurdle, and now it's kind of down to, you know, agreeing details before they talk to the player.
Do you reckon they made him wear ear defenders when he spoke to David Moyes? Tim put ear defenders on Borges, so they could see his mouth moving, but not hear anything that was coming out of his mouth.
That's right. Borges said, "I want regular football."
Yeah. And David, he just nodded and went, "Yes, yes, yes, yes." You're not going to play though. Yes, yes.
You start on the left as a defender, son.
Yes, I might play you in goal sometimes. Yes, yes.
You'd be the fastest ever defender.
Yes, that's what you're going to
be. Joe Wan says, "Why do we need a centre back though?"
I think there's cover, because it's very likely that Moyes wants to play three at the back, isn't it? It's because he was after Maguire, right? That's what we were thinking.
Do you reckon me little box of tricks will work first time this time, or it won't?
No, reboot it before you even.
While you're doing that,
I always do.
You're doing that, I'll go through some of the comments, right?
Yeah, good.
Dan says, "Is it fair comment to say that the club goes out of its way to piss fans off?" 100%. David Sullivan,
he feels that way, doesn't it?
He thinks we're mugs.
I think he loves it, John. I think he loves it.
I do. I think he loves it.
I think he thinks we're mugs. I think Karen Brady thinks we're mugs. I think they all look down their nose a little bit at us. You know.
Palace, Peter Chelmsford says Palace and Brighton play youngsters, so makes more sense for them players that you've mentioned, the two City players, to go to them. Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
I'll tell you what, talking about Palace just quickly, they've lost Zaha now because he's gone to Galatasaray. But who's the really good one, the flash fucker that dived and then scored the penalty? Is it Elise, or is that his name?
Eze?
No, Elise. They're the other one. You got Eze and you got Elise. Well, apparently he's got
the one who come on the wing. When you come on against us that time,
he's got a £35 million release clause in his contract, and Man United and Chelsea are looking at triggering it. So that'd be two fucking big players they've lost there.
Yeah,
big players.
Yeah.
Black Country Hammer says, 19-year-old Moyes, no chance. Under 21s at best, might be on the bench.
By the way, regarding strikers, I think we keep getting linked with Brozier, and I can't believe we'd get linked with Brozier and there's some kind of conditional deal there, because you can't sign him unless you know he's got to be a loan. His surgery's been good, a success. And Nesri is the other one, because Sevilla needs to sell most of their players.
That's every year. He's a new backer. He's a new Carlos
they need to sell most of their players, don't they?
Yeah, no, but Gary, we're going to get.
They're in trouble.
The player himself has turned us down twice. Why are we gone back in for him?
John Good says, "Can we really sing West Ham are massive?" John, I wish we never sang that song. I fucking hate it. I hate that song. I hate it. It's become the Bubbles. No,
I'll
Gal,
tell you
it's
what,
taken over on for Bubbles.
I think it was of its time, massive. I
Yeah,
think
it's
it
dead now,
really
it's done.
suited the cup runs.
Yeah, it did then, but now it's done, mate.
Well,
It was amazing.
John, you're saying he's dead now. It won't be if we're in the Europa League final.
Big fella,
We're in the
big
Europa
fella
League final.
30, big fella 30, amongst many others, is obsessed with the fact that I'm having a little snack. Now, if you don't like watching me eat, put your hand over where I am on the screen, mate, because I like having a little nibble. All right,
John has a buffet in front
I'll tell you,
of him.
can I tempt John into some Arsenal fan baiting as well? Because I don't know. Look, this is just a bit of a funny one. I don't know if anyone saw Arsenal's performance against Man United yesterday. I mean, the funniest thing ever was the Arsenal fans all beating each other up at the final whistle. Did you see that?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Oh, it was
Americans,
amazing. Yeah. That was all beating each other up.
I just saw the ball over the top and Declan Rice trying to catch the player.
Honestly, he got substituted after 60 minutes. He got rated 4 out of 10. And I said it earlier on in the video, and I'm going to say it again because there's more people watching now. That's what happens when you buy rice without the sauce. 100 million, right? You should have got Paqueta as well. 100 million for plain rice. No one wants to see that. We've fucking had your pants down. We've had your pants down. We've had your pants down. Because I know they're going to fucking sing that song to us, aren't they? What's the one they've been singing? They're ripped off the Paqueta.
You sold your star. Was it?
Oh,
you
don't
sold
finish
your
it.
star.
To Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, I mean, let's.
They've got no originality. These fans.
They've always nicked our songs, right? When we started doing Abu, they turned it into Carnu, didn't they?
Yeah,
the week after, right? They never invented a song in their lives. What?
What's the song they do sing? She wore a yellow ribbon or something. Is it something like that?
Oh no, that's just a generic FA Cup song, to be honest.
Yeah, but they seem to sing it more than most.
It's like the one they sing all the time, which is from the 1970s, by far the greatest team the world has ever seen, which is makes me cringe a little bit.
Nigel thinks this is a dart chat. Nigel, this is not about darts, mate. Yeah.
We Thomas partied them for 105 million.
Well, look, we know Rice is going to come good, but you know,
no, we don't. You don't know. Listen, if it starts going bad for him there, they will turn on him like a pack of wolves.
It will be the first time.
No, their fans ain't going to take long. I'll tell you that.
If he don't improve quickly, if he doesn't start fitting in and looking like he's worth 105 million, they will be on his back, and that will be a good test for Deck.
It's a waste of money, fam. Get him out.
He's never had fans on his back. He's literally never had fans on his back before, ever. Right?
Has he? Days, fam. Why did we buy this rice geezer?
He's rubbish.
Can you imagine? He didn't have the island fans loved him, and then we loved him, and the England fans have got nothing but good to say about him as well. He's always been loved by fans.
Did you see that stat? I read a stat earlier. The 2 most expensive English footballers ever both started their international careers for Ireland.
Oh, fucking hell.
Grealish and Rice.
Yeah, no, I saw it.
Oh, Grealish
saw that one.
Did the same, did he?
Done the same thing.
Grealish did the same thing, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
didn't know.
In fact, Grealish, I think Grealish played for Ireland from quite a young age group, if I'm right. Maybe 17s or 18s.
This will please you, Nick.
Also, before you go, if anyone does want a bit of a laugh, right, and a cringe, go on the AFTV. I think it's on their shorts, right? They've actually recreated Rice Baby, not with how bad is that? They've got choreographed dancing, and the guy's completely out of fucking time when he's singing it, isn't he? He's got some good moves. But
we should do a spoof of it. We should do a spoof of it. Come on,
it's so bad,
so cringy. According to Football Insider, West Ham are about to submit a formal bid for James Ward-Prowse.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really good. I'm so pleased with that.
I wouldn't say no at this stage, Nick, but not for silly money. Again,
no, I know.
Beggars I don't mind him as a player. I don't mind.
Listen. As long as if we got him for 25 million, I'd be happy with it.
You won't.
I think it will be 30. But that's only 5 million difference. So give Southampton their little bit extra. They're probably banging trouble, aren't they?
So Cockney Boy 76 says, "Evening, gents. Every summer, early signings are all about the pawn gobbling." Saving a pound note on wages.
I don't know who you're talking about, Cockney Boy 76.
The Baker dude says, I think we need to invest in a training ground and look towards the future for youngsters like Colton Cole and Emenike. Emenike? Was he a kid?
Talking about that, you
Or
said about the
Emmanuel?
difference between
Well, he was a kid
Pep and
once. He was a
Moyes.
kid once in his life.
About the difference between Pep and Moyes. Imagine when Borges turns up at Rush Green. Imagine when he turns up at Rush Green and to the porter cabins. Going to be a eye-opening experience for him, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think his mind is going to be blown by blown away by the training as well. The training's going to be something else. Because that's the other thing we have to speak about. Listen, it's David Moyes doing the drills at the moment. He's putting the cones out. We ain't got no fucking coaches still. We're still 2 coaches down.
He's putting his own cones out.
Putting his own cones out. Yeah, honestly.
He works hard. He works very hard. Andy Miles has confirmed Palhinha's injury. Cheers, Andrew.
Oh, sorry.
Marky Boy says, I think a lot of fans would welcome JWP just to sign anyone.
It's
not the player, it's the price. It's not the player, it's the price.
Yeah. And if we got a combo, like I said earlier on, if it was getting some youth players in and some seasoned, pros, fine. I don't mind. Bit of a mix. But when we had the rumours coming out of buying fucking...
Look at him.
Oh, bloody hell.
He thinks they would have won the World Cup or something. We're in
bloody hell.
The only international team ever to have a sponsor. Do you remember they had Opal across their shirt? Get off, Tommy.
It's obviously the bad side of their family that they don't want to recommend, though, innit? I reckon.
Oh, that is. Why are you saying that? I've heard this one as well. What do you think of Joe Cole joining the coaching team?
Definitely in favour of that. I mean, I don't know what his coaching credentials are.
He's a West Ham.
He's done it again. Look, it ain't working.
Ex-West Ham player.
Cole, didn't we? I mean, on the face of it, you'd love to see Joey Cole in the setup, wouldn't you?
The thing is, the West Ham Academy, because obviously my boy plays against West Ham fairly regularly. They've got a lot of ex-players: Kenny Brown, Steve Potts, Colton Cole, as we know. There's quite a few others off the top of my head, I can't remember, but I think it's a good thing if you can get ex-players involved in the youth setup. Personally, I think it's brilliant. Oh, Irish Tommy, you're going to have to ban him. You're going to have to ban Irish Tommy.
I think
thieving bastards.
I think Nigel, that qualifies as good news. I'm sure you'll agree.
Nigel, good news, mate. Joe Cole is going to be a coach at West Ham. He'll come out with something in a minute going, he wasn't even born in London. He's a towner. Or something like that. Has he got someone on the phone or what? Because he's having a private chat.
I think
he's phoned for a pizza.
I have.
Is someone on the call or what?
Huh?
Is someone
there should
on the
be
line?
someone on the call. Is it not working at all? It's not working.
No, I can't hear anything.
Oh, dear. Right, mate. Carry on talking, John. I'm going to have to reboot my phone. I'm going to have to reboot my phone. I'll call you back.
Sorry about this, people. But
Cheers, mate. Sorry. I'll call you
Nick's
back.
like David Moyes trying to handle a transfer.
I'll call you back.
But this is funny, isn't it? Right? Carlton Cole predicts massive Jared Bowen to step up after Declan Rice exit. What does he mean by that? Is he suggesting captain? I'll tell you what though, I wouldn't mind as part of his deal making him captain. Bowen. Bowen.
No, I don't think he should be captain.
You don't think he's captain material?
Not yet. I just always think
a defender.
No, or a CDM or someone in centre mid. I think a captain needs to see it all in front of him. I think a good captain, needs to see everything going on around him and in front of him. But I know these days it don't often work like that. I mean, obviously, Harry Kane's captain of Spurs, but personally, I just think it always needs to be someone who's seeing the rest of the players in front of him. I just like that. So generally, defender.
I'm inclined to agree with you, but I still would like Jared Bowen to get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. LTL 1010 says Aguerd. Yeah, a lot of people have said Aguerd. I mean, yesterday, obviously, Souček had the captain armband yesterday.
Yeah, Aguerd is a leader. Aguerd is a leader, and he can communicate in many different languages as well.
He can. So he can speak 4 or 5 languages, I believe. Yeah. Happy Hammerette says, I can't see Bowen going at other players after a poor performance. Seems too much of a nice guy.
Yeah, true.
I'd like to see Soufal take the armband. He won't take any shit. And what a Phoenix from the Flames moment that will be if he got the captain's armband after nearly being sold in January.
He would die for the captain's armband. He would die for it, and he would kill others for it as well.
Yeah, good point from Irish Tommy here. First one of the night from him. On pitch captain doesn't really matter. Leaders will be leaders regardless of armbands. No, I totally agree. You need 11 leaders on the pitch technically.
There is a certain amount of truth in that.
Yeah. There's a lot of people saying Vlad. Another one for Vlad. Another one for Aguerd.
I think it's because of his the way he is. You know how passionate he is. You know that if he got something like that, he would take it as the honour that it's intended to be, and he would take it very personally.
Jonathan Boyce said that Jonathan Boyce, in regards to Aguerd, he said he can say "fuck off" to Moyes in different languages. John Good reckons that Aguerd looks like an accountant. Well, my accountant don't walk around in football kits and football boots. I'll just let you know that much. Paqueta's only just come back to training. Yeah, he had a bit longer off than everyone else. He had a couple of days extra, I believe. I don't know why, but people calling for Paqueta to be captain. So,
well, again, it's something that could happen. It depends though. You know, he's only likely to be there for one more season, isn't he? If he continues to grow,
he excels. You mean, yeah?
If he continues to go on that upward trend the way he started.
Yeah, true. Steve Hicks says there's no way Danny Dyer would let Bowen leave. He'd probably kneecap him, yeah. Balls Deep says captain.
I remember that. He was a weak captain. You remember he used to give who used to play against him as one of the kids, like Tompkins or something, wasn't it? He used to give the other centre half the difficult job, the difficult player.
Yeah. To take the light off him.
Yeah.
Shine the light on somewhere else. Papa Firth says Kera as captain, Kera as vice captain, Aguerd.
Yeah, Kera is very vocal, very vocal.
Yeah, it's surprising, really. A lot of people saying Safal, even Keith Knight, Safal would make a top skipper.
Vlad the Impaler, yeah.
Where are we now? The Baker dude. We should sign the highly rated players. I'll have to read this out now, but now I've worked out. We'll have to sign the highly rated players, Paul Skinback and Dick's Enormous, quality players. Get them on the cheap too. I'm not sure Sullivan. I'm not sure Sullivan could swallow that though. What's happening with the phone, Nick?
I'm going to give this one more go. I've rebooted the fucking thing twice now, and my phone as well, and it doesn't seem to want to.
Nick, that's such an expensive piece of kit as well, isn't it?
It's never done this before.
Oh, what's it doing?
Huh?
What's it doing? Just not coming up.
Yeah. 1 minute.
Moyes wasted money yet again. 29-year-old with no sell on. Well, look, I think if it comes down to a deal that's worth 25 or 30 million,
it's working.
I don't think it matters quite so much, right, Razor?
Hello, mate. Sorry, we got there in the end. Sorry, I've had to. I've rebooted me box of tricks twice and my phone, and we're online. Who are we talking to, mate?
Alfie.
Hello, Alfie. How you doing?
Hi, Alfie.
Well, I'm all right, but I'm a bit disappointed what's going on at West Ham at the moment.
It's depressing, mate, isn't it? It's depressing. It really is. What's your take on it?
It's a bit frustrating now. We go from one of the highest points for me I've ever witnessed at West Ham to letting our best player on the pitch leave, our club captain. And then we've got all this money. Everyone knows we've got this money. Everyone's demanding ridiculous fees. And, you know, you can see it. We ain't got a clue what we're doing. We're going and signing players who have got no experience in any division that's professional football, really, and experienced physical leagues. And, yeah, I'm worried, if I'm honest, because, you know, I watched the game and that Souček in the midfield, he looked, I don't even want to talk about it.
I know. It's a worry, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm worried.
It's a worry because obviously I think we all accept that. I think Rice was carrying Souček, wasn't he, John, last season, 100%. Especially
100%. Doing a two-man job in there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Jesus, I nearly choked him a bean.
Sorry, Alfie.
Right now, the fan base is very collective right now. They're very happy over the win, and you know.
Yeah.
Why won't the club go out and excite us with some good signings and really show we're serious and want to kick on? We just achieved something brilliant. We're taking 2 steps back.
Well, can I just say, this is traditional as being a West Ham supporter. We have literally never built on success, right? You know, you how old are you, Alfie? You're in your 20s.
I'm 18.
18, right? So you're yet to have a lifetime of disappointment like me. Right, because if you look back at just what's happened in my life, you look back at what's happened in my life. There have been some high points, right? Some real high points. So I was born in '69, 1975, 76. We won the FA Cup and got to the Cup Winners' Cup final. 2 years later, we got relegated. Right, then we got promoted again. The one time I don't think it happened was, and we actually tried to build on success, although not massively, was 80-81, where we got to, you know, won the FA Cup, got to the League Cup final, and and then we got promoted, and we came up 85-86. We nearly won the league, finished third. Well, then we set about dismantling the team and sold McAvenny and Cotty, and the rest is history. A few years later, we're relegated, right? We had the last season at the Bowling, and how fucking great that was. That's fast forwarding quite a bit. And then the following season, we had to pay for that good season with a fucking shit season, right? Absolutely shit season.
The thing is though, Gary, I agree with all that, but this was at Upton Park. This is different. We were supposed we let go of Upton Park for a reason, which was to move on. It was to move on to the next level. We have just had, you know, by hook or by crook, we managed to qualify again for Europe 3 years running, which is something that has never been done before, and we only done that off the back of the cup win. The league form was toilet. Absolute shit, but we've done it. So Alfie's right. How can anybody justify? Because we've been lucky. We've been lucky. We're lucky we won that cup, and we're lucky that we're in it again next year. How can we not capitalise on that?
I agree. It's fucking rubbish.
About as well is, I worry as well the fact that I think there's 20 days until we kick off in the Premier League.
Yeah,
and we're going to realise that we've had our pants down, and you know we're going to look awful, and then we're going to go out, we're going to have this money, and we're going to waste it. We're really going to waste it, and it's so worrying. And I'm not saying that it's going to be an awful season, but we've got Europe, we've got Premier League games. We need to build on it, and we're not. And we made the incorrect mistake. We let the Rice saga drag out for ages. Fair enough, we held out and got the fee that we wanted, but we didn't get the players in that we needed first. It's embarrassing. And, you know, you see Harvey Barnes going to Newcastle today. We could have easily had him.
Oh, no.
The club just don't want to play up David Sullivan again.
The thing is, Alfie, it's bad business all round, right? Because at the end of the day, we couldn't buy anybody or make offers allegedly until we got a lump sum of that Rice money through the door, right?
Yeah.
That is pathetic, because then you are in an absolute catch-22 situation. You can't start your transfer dealings early like you should be doing. Are you telling me they couldn't have got? Are you telling me they couldn't have got 20-30 million pounds from somewhere as a little borrow off one of their other companies until the Rice money come in? Of course they could have done something.
John, Rice's replacement should have been in before Rice got sold.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying to you.
It should have been. And then you ain't going to get your pulled. And then when you're in that situation and you ain't got to worry about having your pants pulled down after you've sold your player, you can then play hardball with Arsenal. You can play it out in public. Yeah. You can let the world know that you forced them to give you the entire balance over 2 years. You can do all of that. But now we're in a situation where everyone knows we've got all that money. And you got Monster Munch hands coming out saying, "Oh, everyone wants too much money for their players." As he's played in poverty.
Yeah, but Nick, that is just his way of saying, "Look, I can't spend because all these other clubs are trying to rip me off. I can't spend. What do you expect me to do? I ain't going to pay over the odds, am I?" It's another excuse. It's bullshit, right? It's bullshit.
Fucking hell, I know. But it's
the thing is though.
Go on, mate.
Any well-run club, any well-run structured club, they're going to know throughout the whole situation we had no money to spend, and now they're going to be in a situation where they're going to be like, "Well, we ain't got to sell our players, so you need to pay what we're asking for. Yeah. We're not obliged to sell to you." And it's going to be a situation where I'm telling you, we're going to go out, we're going to get ripped off, we're going to get in probably one midfielder, one winger, and we're going to look in the Premier League, and teams are going to they're going to destroy us with this midfield. They are. Souček, I'm beyond words with him.
Yeah.
When we come up against proper, strong, aggressive, dominant midfields and defenders that are going to bomb up the field, we're going to look lost. We are.
We are going to look lost.
We ain't even got our captain sorted out yet. We ain't even got that sorted out. We're 20 days away from kicking off the Premier League.
It's going to be Souček.
We have got that sorted out. It's going to be Souček. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I called that as a joke at the end of the season, but I weren't really joking. I thought he was, you know, and I still think that is going to be the case. I think he's. I don't know what David Moyes sees in him. And look, listen, I do feel rotten banging on at Souček because as a person and as a professional and everything else, you couldn't ask for any more than what he does. He does do the best of his ability, you know, but he shouldn't still be in this setup. I don't think, you know, he's not he's not a capable central midfielder, Premier League midfielder. I don't think he is.
He's got nowhere to hide now.
No.
He literally has nowhere to hide. It's a shame, but he's going to get.
It is a shame because by allowing by Deck basically forcing his way into getting further up the pitch and basically putting Souček out of position a little bit, that exposed Souček's weakness.
Yeah.
And since then, everybody's known he's got that weakness. So he's like half the player overnight. So now what he does is run around a lot. And occasionally he'll have a great game where his defensive attributes can come to the fore. And I saw, the Fulham game. Fulham game down at their place, he was unbelievable that day. He got his head on everything, right? But it's the occasional game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think sort of getting over the age thing and everything else? Do you think that James just say, because look, I'm trying to, it feels like the James Ward-Prowse thing isn't going to go away, Alfie, so I'm going to have to get used to this idea. I wouldn't sign him. But if we were to sign James Ward-Prowse and put him in central midfield, and we're talking about replacing both of our midfielders now, and then so you've got James Ward-Prowse as your box-to-box sort of creative player, sitting a little bit deeper behind Paqueta, and then we went out and we got a real powerhouse central midfielder or a central defensive midfielder next to him. Do you think that could work?
I think James Ward-Prowse, I'll give it to him. He's a loyal player.
Yeah.
He puts heart and passion into the shirt, and he would be a good player, very good on set pieces. And obviously, we've seen in previous seasons we've been really well on set pieces.
Yeah.
But we should be high into better. We should be going for better. And this is another thing that worries me as well. Is like you said, going out and getting a proper high talent, promising ceiling. Why would a player? And I'm not disrespecting our club, but why would a player of a high
I agree before you've said it. I agree before you said it.
Why would I go to West Ham, right? Yeah, they just won a trophy, but their manager is out of contract in the year. I don't know what's going on there. Their ownership is in the air. I don't know what's going on there. And another club's going to come in and go, we're steady here. We know what we want to do. We're offering you the money. Come to us. It's not a good position to be in right now. It's really not. And, we are probably going to end up with James Ward-Prowse because at the end of the day, he won't care about the ownership. He'll come, he will play his football. But I don't see his midfield getting any better than James Ward-Prowse. And like you said, getting a real solid defensive midfielder, which player is actually going to want to commit to us?
Yeah, well, that's the worry because look, this is the other thing that we've got to think of here. I mean, I'm sure we'll get players, and we always do make signings. We do, but they're always fucking late. But the worry is that we don't make the necessary replay. Because look, I don't think any of us are really going to understand the size of the hole that Declan Rice has left until we see it play out. And I do think, I've said it before, I think that Declan Rice covered for a multitude of sins at West Ham. For instance, his midfield partner. I think, even defence, he was so, and you know what? He was so important because he was a central midfielder. A lot of people say, we used to get caught out sometimes when he used to try and bomb upfield. He was our method of transition because we rarely had options forward. Declan Rice wins the ball. He's on the front foot. He ball recovery to transition. That was what he did. So kind of to try and wrap all of that up and replace that. I don't know how we're going to cope with it. To be quite honest,
I'd rather get Conor Gallagher than James Ward-Prowse, as Ken Leach says here. I think that's a no-brainer. Whether Chelsea can afford to let him go because they've sold about 9 midfielders, didn't they? But I'm not sure that. I think Pochettino will want to keep him because I think he's a very Pochettino type player.
You do a lot of Pochettino, don't you?
Can't say it. I can't.
We're going to try it. Right now we're going to work on phonetic pronunciations. Pochettino, right?
Pochettino.
And the other one that people are struggling with tonight is Mabama. Now think Barack Obama and just put an M in front of it. Mabama, right? Not Mabamba, not Mamba.
Mate,
right. The one that does me is Carlos Is it Bourges? Bourges? What the fuck is it? How'd you say it?
Bourges.
I think it's
Bourges. You don't know, do you?
I'll go Bourges just for now.
Bourges. I don't really care. Listen, I'm from Mile End. I talk how I want. If you don't like it,
I'll say what I want. Alfie, you was in the middle of saying something before Gary interrupted you.
Go on, mate.
And to add on to it, I think we've all analysed a few seasons ago. We should have realised, bring good players in, build the team around Declan Rice, show him that we're willing to go on, we're ambitious. Next year, we're going to be in the exact same position where Paqueta is going to play a brilliant season. Clubs are going to start coming into him. He's going to go. We're going to have all the money again, and then we've got to go over it again. We should be showing players like Paqueta that we're serious. We want to build around this squad 100%. And really get players to vote to the club. And I know not everyone wants to build into a project, but what's the worst in building into a project where players can look forward to something? I don't like them, but when you look at Arsenal, I think their objective was to get fourth, and they failed the season before. They nearly won a league title.
I know.
And now,
I know.
on all that failure, they've just gone and bought Declan Rice.
I know, but mate, do you know what really bothers me? Go back to the last summer, right? We're looking forward to another European competition. We was having similar sort of panic. We was panic stricken in that window as well because we signed a few players early. I think it was Areola and Aguirre. We signed them, but then there weren't much going on till later on. But then what happened was we signed. So bearing in mind, we've got Declan Rice, right? We've got a world-class talent. We then went out. We bought Paqueta. We got Scamacca. We're thinking, fuck me, what is going on here? This is amazing. All of us got excited at that point. You've got all of these really talented players. Now it's looking like, personally, I don't care what anyone else says. From what I've heard, from what I've read, from what we've all read about Scamacca, it's going to be a miracle if he's here when that window closes. I think he's going. I do think he is. I would bet money on it. I don't know, but I would bet money on the fact he's not going to be here. So what that means is we're Rice down, we're going to be Scamacca down, and then do you know what? If things don't improve next summer, we're going to be Paqueta down. All of those talented players are going to be the real talented players are going to be been dismantled. And when you look back to what we was last season, going into last season, this is horrific, and we've just won a trophy. How the fuck has this happened?
No, it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Well, anyway, we didn't win the game. We drew against Southampton, right? But it's a perfect example. When we played Southampton away, we finally realised we can attack a bit more when we have them in the front line. And I just remember that game when we were playing everything into him. He was so effective. He was winning the ball. He was trying new stuff. And it's like, why are we bringing these players in when David Moyes knows he's not going to get the best out of them? And then they're just going to walk in, spend a year and go, this ain't for me. Then they're just going to go away. No.
Well, I just hope that nobody meets the fucking asking price that David Sullivan slapped on Paqueta, where he's basically come out there and said, if you want him, you can have him for 75 million. Why he's done that, I just don't know. Because in this window, don't get me wrong, if you're in another window and you've got a settled team, you can do that. Say, look, if you want him, here's the price, 75 million. But you don't do that. It's basically put him in the shop window now. I know every player is in the shop window, but a lot of people have agreed with that. They've said, oh, no, it's the right way of doing it. If somebody wants your players, in this instance, he ain't fucking for sale. Come back next year. Come back next year. He's not for sale now. And that's the thing. If PSG come in now for 75 million and Paqueta wants that move and we go, no, we can't sanction it, we ain't going to have 100% Paqueta next year. No. We're not.
No, that's right. That's right. But then again, no, I think we will, because Paqueta needs to keep his profile high. And if he's going to, I don't think he's the kind of player to put half-hearted performances in.
You don't. I'm not saying down tools, Gary, but the fact is, if you're not motivated, then
he's only just started making his name, right? No one can take that for granted and relax for a whole season. He needs to continue raising his profile.
He had a name before he came to us. That's why we paid 50 million.
No, but not in the Premier League. He didn't, and he had a crappy name in the Premier League up until about 3 months before the end of the season, right? Alfie, thanks for your call, mate.
Yeah, Alfie,
really good call, mate.
Thanks for calling, mate. You better get off now. You got paper round in the morning.
He's 18, you dick.
Oh, 18. Sorry.
Can I ask one more before I go?
Go on, mate. Go on.
What scares me is, right, you look at Newcastle. A few weeks ago, they were getting reports that they were on a financial fair play watch and they were struggling for funds. And then all of a sudden, they just got funds out of nowhere. And, they missed out on James Maddison and, these super wealthy clubs, we've seen it when they come calling, the players start dreaming Champions League football. And I don't think, when you look at it, last summer when we did get Paqueta, he looked at West Ham and he saw a vision and he saw these clubs going places. And now he's just going to see it as, I've come here, I've had 2 years, done the best I can, won the club a trophy, I'm going to move on, and then I'm going to go play my best year somewhere else.
Yeah. No, I know, but the thing is, you know something, this could all change. Going back to just very quickly before we let you go, because we're gonna have a very Gary from Watford just phoned in. I will call you back, Gary. Very, very quickly, what this could be, okay? And this was our rationale because Tim Steidson is the most un-Sullivan type appointment ever. And I know Nigel said he's not very. He is highly thought of. He's a very highly regarded director of football.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, I don't believe that Sullivan, first of all, would have known who he was to have appointed him, and he definitely wouldn't have been able to have convinced him to come and work for him in a job interview. He wouldn't have been able to sell him a vision. I do personally think that Steidson is a plant from a new owner. That's my rationale. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. Cool. And it is all tying in. We're not spending money. It's a bit weird what's going on. So they seem to be buying time. You know, this four-man roundabout that they've built, where they've now got an excuse to kind of blame why they can't sign players.
Well, think about it, Nick. When we heard about that strategy, we all said, "Well, that's not going to work, is it?" Right? So it might have deliberately been put in place. Another thing to hold stuff up.
So what this could be? So imagine, right? You can dream. We're West Ham fans. We've got a dream. Yeah. It all depends on the next owners. But if they've placed someone like Steidson, then I've got full faith in them because he is a very high profile guy. That's a good sign if he's been placed from new owners. So say 3 months, 4 months down the line, David Gold's shares get released from probate, the sale goes through, all of a sudden, new owners, not being funny, all the other lot go out the door, new start, fresh start, someone who's going to start investing money. You know, not being funny, you might see Alonso come through the door from Leverkusen. You might start seeing some new types of players, a new football style. That could be the next level. Because Sullivan ain't going to take us to the next level. It's going to have to be someone else. He's taken us. What Sullivan's done is he's taken us as far as he can on several occasions, and he always slams the fucking brakes on. And I know that David Moyes took responsibility for that January transfer window where we should have invested, where we should have spent some money. But Sullivan's proved before that if he really wants us to get players, he'll go out and he'll get players. They didn't invest in that January transfer window. That was a sliding doors moment, I think, because if we'd have gone out and we'd have got a couple of players in that window, I'm almost certain we'd have got top four. You get Champions League, that elevates you to another profile entirely. But it almost feels like they try to rein us back in. You go so far, but they try to pull you back and rein you back in because
success means more expenditure.
It means more spending. If you've got a Champions League club, you've got to go out and buy different profiles of players. You've got to go out and do this and you've got to do that.
Which is why I said last week, Sullivan's happy just finishing 7th.
Yeah, he is. He
100%,
is.
100%. So
I know. So we just got to hope and dream that this is all going to be fucking over soon because it's a nightmare, isn't it, Alfie?
Let's let Alfie go now because we've got a few people waiting.
Oh, yeah. All right, mate. Nice one.
Sorry,
Cheers, Alfie. Thanks, mate. We've got you've had double. We do a 10-minute rule. You've had 20 minutes. You've been lucky.
Only because it's a 6 weeks holidays, though. Only because it's a 6 weeks holidays, we give you extra time.
All right, make sure you call back in. Nice one. Cheers, mate.
See you later, Alfie.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Good call. Right, let's give Gary a call.
He's old 18. He sounded well
fuming. Have you ever spoken to Kane? Who? Oh no, we had Kane on before. Hang on, 1 minute.
Harry Kane.
No. Kane, he phoned in once. He had the deepest voice ever. He's about 18, 19. Yeah. Hello, is that Gary from Watford?
Hello, Nick. How are you, mate?
All right. No, it's been a couple of weeks, mate. You been getting withdrawals?
Last Sunday I was, when I said no phoning on the Monday. I did my nut. I was cursing you.
Smashed the front room up, he did.
Hello, John, all right, mate?
I'm good, mate. I was the only one without an hangover last week, so don't blame me. It was them two.
Listen, I'm calling in tonight. Try to put a bit more of a positive spin on it, if I can.
Go on, then. Good luck.
First of all, thanks. First of all, West Ham very often leave it late in the window. We know that. I know it's not ideal. And a couple of points you said earlier, I totally agree. With Declan Rice, clubs know we've got this money. And I said the other week, the price is going to go up when every player by 10 or 15 million. Look at Aston Villa when they sold Grealish. They didn't 3 players in the door before they even sold Grealish.
Gary, Gary,
I
just quickly on that. Gary, do you think that Daniel Levy, even when he had the money from Gareth, what's his name, Bale, do you think Daniel Levy has ever been mugged off and asked to pay over the odds for a player? Because I don't. I think that is, I think it's just an excuse. You don't have to get mugged off, right? And there are players out there to buy. Maybe not your primary targets, but there are players out there.
But I think Gary, I think you're right. you'll get mugged off in the Premier League. But when you look at these, we've brought Stuyton in, right? So if you go out and you shop further afield, you going over, like you said earlier on, Sevilla, they're not going to haggle. You look at Fofana, who we're looking at. That's going to be a 20. That's going to be a 20, 30 million pound player. If you go shopping in the Premier League, that is almost like, do you know something? It's almost like, are you fucking stupid? Because
you're going to
have to pay ridiculous amounts of money. If Declan Rice was playing in La Liga, he would have been a 50 million pound player. He weren't. He was playing in the Premier League, and it's and Arsenal had to pay 100 million for him. Yeah. That's how it works.
Well, And the trouble is though, then you've got the other dilemma, which when we bought players last year that didn't have Premier League experience, like Moy said, they took a while to adapt. So
he took a while to adapt, mate. He took a while to adapt. He tried to do this different system, which no one saw because it didn't work. His different system was playing Skamaka instead of Antonio, and that don't work.
Yeah,
that was his idea of a different system. So it weren't players bedding in. Fuck me. Paqueta, he had to change his position because he didn't even know where he played.
Yeah. Can I just ask Gary, where's the positive spin on this, mate?
Well, the positive spin is we do often leave it late, and and I think when the Man City youngster Borges, he looks unbelievable. I was thinking the other night,
he does.
I was sitting there thinking, Bowen one side, in the other, Skamaka down the middle. I think if you got Paqueta, bring in Conor Gallagher, who's your box-to-box player. So then all you need to do is spend a fair chunk of that money on a Rice replacement. Now, I know we don't really want to do... I mean, Paulinho, I know we were looking for younger players, but I think you can afford to get one. He's 27, 28, so he's at his peak.
He's only got one arm now, mate.
I know.
Right,
but defensively, he's very, very strong. He's a good tackler. He's good in the air. And he would have been perfect to sit in there. And with Paqueta and maybe got Gallagher, in front of him, I was thinking that would be a really good team,
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you can get, sorry, Gal, but if you can get in two midfielders and still have a lot of change to replace Rice, so if you went for the cheaper option, Alvarez, and also go all out to try and get Conor Gallagher, who's 4, 5, 6 years younger than Paulinho, whatever he is. To me, that's you could pick up Alvarez and Conor Gallagher probably combined for 70, 75 million. So you've still got money in the bank.
We've got the Man City youngster as well. We're linked with centre half again. 15 million again, and so you're sort of doing two things. You're building for the future, whatever manager's there, and then also you've got to have maybe one experienced player in the middle there, I think. But how much we used with Fulham? I know we went back with a second bid of 50 million. I know he's hurt his arm now. I know it's irrelevant, but I thought it's a key position.
No fucking way would I go above 50.
Asking the three of you, is that the max you would have gone?
Yeah, 100%.
I would have said 40. I would have gone 40 first bid. I would have walked away.
Yeah, but we haven't bid that. We haven't bid 50. We've bid a total of 50. It's a package of 50. Yeah. It's probably 30 to 35 plus add-ons.
Yeah.
So I reckon now maybe the next choice will be Alvarez, don't you? Because he's rated about 35 million.
He's a better player, in my opinion.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It does, but the only other option is about Onana at Everton. I mean, I think he's a brilliant box-to-box player. He's still at the manager.
I think he's a good player. I do think he's a good player, but his price will have only inflated, wouldn't it?
It's going to be 50 million. More. 50 million.
Even more. And his wages and all that. I think we need to forget that. I think going back in for him again...
But Gary, there are better options out there. Like I say, if Fofana is apparently available and apparently keen on a move to the Premier League, right? 35 million. He's mustard. He's brilliant. He's a young player, exactly the right profile, big powerhouse in central midfield, French international as well. Why the fuck wouldn't you do that?
I know. I heard that the other day about him. It's true. What we can't do is what Tottenham done with Bale. Is got the money and just wasted it on 6, 7 players. Try to spread it out. Get loads of players in, and it's just no good.
But the thing is, do you know something?
Get so much for 100 million.
But the thing is, you know something? They didn't really waste their money. They got 4 or 5 players in. One of them was Ericsson. One of them was Lamella. They didn't waste it. That's a bit of a fallacy.
They took a couple of seasons to mature.
A lot of this lot though.
Yeah, but
they had more flops. They had more flops. They had more flops they bought, but you're talking about two of the players there were outstanding, weren't they?
Yeah. They didn't completely waste it. I mean, what was Ericsson worth in his fucking peak?
Yeah. I think with the striking options, Nick. I mean, I like personally, with me, I think if Antonio's going to go, much as I love Antonio, I'll accept that he's going to go. I'll get Ings out as well, and I'll have Mabama, Skamaka, and I'll bring a first striker in. I'd get Broja with an option to buy because of his injury. I think Broja would be a really good signing.
I would get him on loan with an option to buy.
Conditional.
Sign him
no,
out,
that's what I'm saying. No, with an option to buy. Because if he came good, again, he's only young. He's only, 21, 22, Broja. He holds the ball up. He runs the channels. He's very strong.
But
very similar to Antonio in some respects.
But from what I've read, Chelsea are not interested in that. They want to sell him because they've got to recoup some money. You know, they're going to get FFP'd up otherwise.
No one is going to buy. No one's going to buy him unless it's for like 5 or 10 million. No one is going to buy him outright.
Well, this is it. They can't have it both ways, can they?
No.
El Chico says Alvarez is not better than Polinia. He can't even pass a ball. Started as a centre back, and it's evident whilst watching him. Literally a centre back playing in midfield. There's a reason Ajax fans are happy.
Which is where a lot of CDMs start playing, isn't it? But
I've seen him play. I've seen him play when he had a bad game. He played an international game the other day, and he weren't very good. But I've seen him play a few times, and he was good. And he can pass the ball. He can run with it. He can be a bit cumbersome. He's tall. But you know something? Polinia, he's a tackler, and you know what he is? He's a Flynn Downs. He don't carry the ball. He don't do forward passing. He passes sideways and backwards. That's what Polinia does. He's a defensive midfielder. I know,
but then you've got one player sitting there, and you've got Paqueta and Gallagher or whoever.
But Gary, if that is the man's job, do we not have one?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, but it depends on its levels, I suppose, isn't it? You know, it's I mean, you could give Downs a chance. I mean, he's like to say, he does the basic things. That's what you're saying, Nick. Yeah. But I mean, out of the three of you, if you had a choice now, I mean, Polinia's injured. If Alvarez is not as good as the other guy just said, is there anyone else in the holding midfield role you'd like to get in?
Well, look. Somebody's made a few suggestions here, right? So somebody's made and I've often thought this because if you look at Declan Rice, started out as a centre back. You want ball playing because you want a defender because you've got to be defensive minded. So that's number one. But you want a creative player. Look, we know someone's mentioned Kera there as a CDM. I think that would be worth a fucking punt. He's a brilliant player. He's got pace. He loves to tackle. He reads the game really well. I often said, before we let Diop go, I'd like to have seen Diop pushed up into.
Some of them can easily do it.
What about the other one, Aguirre? I'm not overly feeling him at centre back, but I reckon as a CDM, he could be mustard.
I think what you've got to remember, centre backs these days are taught more than ever in training and things like that. They want them to ball carry, they want them to pass. Even from look how Dawson progressed in his short time with us. Look at some of the passes that Dawson ended up spraying.
Yeah, that's right.
He'd never done that in 10 years previous.
Yeah, have you read this? What happened? I read this earlier on. This is unbelievable. Right. So this was. Basically, 15 million release clause on Jonathan Tara, a wicked centre back from Leverkusen.
That's how we should have gone.
Who basically this is one that we couldn't get done by the committee, didn't get signed off. This was a Stuyson one. Well, basically, it's expired. Now we'll have to pay double that money if we want him. We just let that go. We let it expire. 15 million for him. Have you seen it?
I
know. Peanuts.
Yeah, that would have been a really good buy, that wouldn't it?
Yeah, so that's fucking. It's just.
I'm just hoping this week, there's things going on behind the scenes. Suddenly, this week maybe 2 or 3 come in. I mean, I'm trying to be optimistic because everyone's so down at the moment with it. It's a strange thing, isn't it? It's like we've gone for this Europa Conference win, and like Gary said earlier, and I totally agree with what he said. This is West Ham. This is why we've never done anything. And when people talk about, I'll tell you what. Actually, I just want to show the other week.
We haven't got to accept it though. And smile about it.
No, we haven't.
We haven't. This is
I hate it.
But there's a show on the other week. It was about what is a big club, and it was a debate on one of the channels. And it wasn't a West Ham channel; it was another channel, and it was interesting. And there was also a West Ham fan came on and talked. They said, Arsenal's far bigger than West Ham and all that. And it's like Nicky Hawkins said, we're not a million miles away from Arsenal, but it will never change until we get new owners in.
It's the owners. The fan. Look,
it's the owners. You can argue and talk about for hours and hours and hours and weeks and weeks about this until the Sullivan's gone and you've got a new owner come in with a younger progressive manager. potentially the fan base West Ham is big.
Yeah,
it's not just Sullivan and previously Gold. It was a previous ownership as well. I mean, forget the Icelandics; they were a bit crazy. But going back before then, Terry Brown is all they really wanted was to stay up in the Premier League and stay attached to the gravy train. It didn't really care about anything else. And that I don't think that the grand master plan was to win the Conference League last year or win the Europa League the year before. I think that just happened, right? It just happened. And finishing 6th and 7th. I don't think that was planned for either. It just happened.
And it's frustrating, though, really. As a fan, it's frustrating because you've had a couple of years when we was up there, top 4, top 5, top 6. And like Nick said earlier, I think the key moments for this club, and I think in years to come, you look back at it, and we have discussed this.
That was when I flipped, and I officially did. I don't care what I actually did go. I went Moyes out from that point. From that point, I lost it with him, especially when he came out and he done that interview. I thought this is we're going to look back on this moment, and we're going to think, fuck me, that was a point, because it seems like West Ham don't get very many chances to, you know, that was, and they slammed the brakes on, That's all they did.
You know, you're talking about what makes Gary. You know, you were talking about what makes a big club. I think Lewis makes an excellent point here. Big clubs don't play for 35% possession at home. I mean, literally, you think of any of the top 6. What do they do at home? In fact, what do they do away? None of them.
They dominate the ball, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. They all over the opposition, aren't they? So, you know, I think in that metric, we're not a big club at the moment.
No, I don't think in terms of trophies we are, but I mean, you know, historically, I mean, some of the big clubs are talking about years ago won the European Cup and stuff. Obviously, they're not big clubs now. I mean, they were in the 80s.
We're a sleeping giant. I think if somebody came in and bought the club, you know, and gave us and tried to give us a little bit of success. And I'm not having a go at Man City, because I actually quite like Man City. I like the fans and everything else. We wouldn't have an empty stadium with the level of success that they've been having just recently.
I think we've got the capability.
That is they don't get many people through the turnstiles at the Etihad.
No, they don't.
And the thing is, at the end of the day, we have got the second largest attendance in the Premier League after Man United. This is not
honestly, Gary, we are so well supported. We are one of the best supported teams in the league. We could become a giant with the right backing, but
that's right.
You know, I ain't going to put my hopes on getting the right backing.
It will only get better if we get foreign investment, and you might not like it, but Saudi, Qatari, or American, we're never going to get to the level we want. The next level without that, I don't believe.
I just think that's going to take it away from us further, you know, because I think if we did that, we'd end up part of a group.
But we can't go on moral on this. I mean, we've got a fucking porn baron owning the club.
What I'm saying is, Nick, I'm not going on moral on it. What I'm saying is, we would end up, if we got rich Middle Eastern owners, we would end up in a little niche club of people, a little niche group of clubs who would eventually break away and form a fucking European league, and then before you know it, old West Ham's just gone.
It's gone already.
Yeah.
We've got a 60,000 seater. What do? Do we just accept being little West Ham and this big 60,000 seater? No. Or do we go full hog?
No.
See, the trouble is also you've got a lot of younger fans now, like called out earlier, who's at 18, 19, and the last 2 or 3 years they've been used to us challenging the top 4, top 6, Europe 3 seasons in a row. You know, we've gone years previously and done nothing. So, you know, we've had, since 2016, we've had 2 or 3 chances to get into the Champions League. We've blown it every time.
Yeah.
You know, we've done it. But it's just frustrating because, like you said earlier, potential there.
Gary, I'm sorry, 15 minutes. I'm still waiting for your positive spin.
I'll give it to you. I'm hoping next week we always do the business late. We know that.
Right.
And end of the day, we don't know what's going on. There could be deals about to be wrapped up. You don't know.
So your positive spin is faith. Keep the faith.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Gary!
We've got to bring players in. We've got that money sitting there.
I thought you had something better, Gary.
If we don't spend that money. What do you think? Do you honestly think we don't bring anyone in then? What are you saying?
No, we'll bring players in. But do you know something? It goes back to what I said earlier on. We have no fucking strategy or philosophy. We don't. So What we do is we burn through 90% of the window, and this might be where sometimes I might have some sympathy for a David Moyes or whatever other manager, because if a manager gives Sullivan a target early enough, he'll fuck that deal up, because he'll go, oh, we've got weeks, we've got months, and he'll negotiate it and he'll try and squeeze it, and then they'll waste 90% of a transfer window on primary targets. Then we panic. Then we go out and we start fucking buying other players in, right? And the problem that I've got with that is they ain't always going to work. For instance, Gary, we went from Onana to Paqueta. We went from Brozier to Scamacca. Completely different players, which shows there is no strategy there. It's almost like, we need a striker, we need a midfielder. Let's just go and get one. That's literally what they fucking do.
Look at his tit on here. You're not a 10 for the club.
There's a Tottenham fan in the chat.
Is there? Where?
Yeah, look,
West Ham and a big club. You're not a 10 for the club. Spursies.
Spursies? Who the fuck is Spurs?
He must be your neighbours.
Didn't our kids just beat you in fucking Australia?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're going to lose about 6 or 7-0 in the Premier League this year.
This is a club that's won one cup in about 20, 25 years, I think.
Yeah, let me just give you.
This is a big club, is it?
Gary,
look, hang on, 1 minute. Have a look at his thumbnail. Look, Harry Kane. Say goodbye, mate. Say goodbye to your 25, 30 goals a year. Say goodbye. He's going.
Yeah, let me just give you this little stat. Gary, John, Nick. Right, this is who we've signed in the last week of the window, right? Benrahma, Bowen, Souček, Soufal, Dawson, Hugill, João Mario, Patrice Evra, Emerson, Kehrer, Ings, Vlasic. Yep. The only 4 we haven't signed in the last 2 weeks of the window is Agüed, Cornet, Downs, and Scamacca.
Yeah, we can do it, but
I know we can do it. I know, and I said that earlier on. I said we always do our business late, and do you know what? Some of the players, they come good, but what I'm saying is it's luck, because there is no strategy applied to that.
I know.
How do you go from Onana to Paqueta? Well, what the fuck? You couldn't get 2 players at 2 different players.
It was a last minute change. Paqueta was as well. We didn't chase them all through the window, right?
No. But I mean, those are players. I mean, that's why sometimes, you know something, sometimes it is a good thing, because I swear it's just what happens is Sullivan panics and he goes, we need a big player to keep the fans happy. So we end up probably sometimes getting a better player than what we might have got before. We would never have signed Paqueta in the first week of the window, would we?
Well, you look at that list, right? How many of them were actually planned? I think Bowen and Souček were the only 2 that was planned. The rest of them look like last minute deals.
They were just last minute.
Ings, Kehrer, Emerson, Evra, Hugill, Dawson.
But anyway, Gary, one more thing. We're going to give you one more thing before you go.
You can't say his catchphrase.
Yeah, what's going on?
Fucking hell, just what you are. Start again. Don't worry about him, Gal.
I think I said it all really tonight. What I've got to say. I think I'm just hopeful, like we just said, next week we get some signings in, because obviously you've got, it's not ideal. When's the Premier League start? It's not that
3
far
weeks.
now, is it?
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah. But anyway, see what happens, lads.
Well, I'll tell you before you go, right? Before you go, if we don't make any signings before the season starts, for the first 5 games, we haven't got any new players. How do you think it's going to go?
Well, I think we're going to struggle probably. It all depends, I suppose. Really, I mean, I've heard this rumour about maybe now Rice has gone. Some of the players maybe will give a bit more around the pitch.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a bit of resentment there. I've heard this rumour, Nick. I don't know how true it is. You maybe know more than me about that.
I can believe that.
Why?
Yes.
Why would you think?
I think it's a midfield.
I don't think it's true, John. I just can believe it. I could believe it.
It's not hard to. It's not hard to disbelieve anything negative.
That one of your teammates are better for themselves.
No. It's just that if you're part of a team and the captain, he's leaving and he wants out and he won't sign a new contract. It's not beyond imagination that a couple of players might resent that. Yeah,
some players might resent it. Yeah,
it didn't look like he was playing on it. But I'm just saying, it's not beyond. Something that could happen.
Can I say one more thing as well? Has Declan Rice going from the club, what has that done to our appeal as a football club for new players coming in? John, I'll let you go on that one. Do you reckon it's affected our appeal?
He's a huge pulling point, isn't he? Look, at the end of the day, everyone knows what his attributes are. Everyone knows how good he is. He's probably a future England captain at some point as well, let's be honest, or potentially. So he's a big draw. Massive. I mean, come and join me and play in midfield with Declan Rice, or come and join me and play in midfield with Thomas Soucek. No disrespect, but it's chalk and cheese.
That's why. That's why maybe we need, as much as we want to spread this money out and get players in, we do need a big signing. We need a big name. We need to get someone in there.
Yeah.
Particularly in the midfield area. I think that's got to be done, That maybe would make the supporters feel a bit happier.
Yeah, I think so. Right, Gary, thank you very much for the call, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Gary.
Mate.
See you later.
Take care,
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Right, we've got one more. We've got one more call that's lined up, and then we're going to call it a night after that one because I've got an early start.
I can't on that Rice. Is he a draw? I don't think anyone last season would have joined just to play alongside Declan. Everyone knew Declan was leaving in the summer, didn't they? Everyone knew it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't underestimate West Ham as a club. I mean, we are a bloody big club, quite wealthy in the scheme of things.
Yeah, but Gary, if you're a top player at the moment, right? If you're a top player, they will know they care about their profile. Wait a minute, you all know they care about their profile and their commercial deals and everything else. The biggest problem that we've got is the style of football that we play and that fucking manager. That's going to be the biggest problem.
Arguably, at the moment, West Ham, we shouldn't be looking to sign top players for full price. We should be looking to sign strong, very strong, reputable players for not quite top price. You know what I mean?
WhatsApp audio.
Hang on.
Yeah, true.
Right. Okay, I've just got to make a quick call. 1 minute. Where is it?
I just don't think we should be in that. I know, look, it looks like Paqueta was a good signing after all, but I don't think we should be signing players for that money.
No,
Hello?
really. No. Hello, is that Tony?
We need bodies.
Yeah. It goes wrong.
Hello, mate. Is that Tony the Tanker?
Hello, Tony.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. All right. Evening, mate.
How you doing?
Yeah,
good, not too bad, mate.
What would you like to talk about tonight, mate? Some of our new signings.
No, mate. I've got there's one person and one person only to blame for all of this, and that is Sullivan. Which brings me on to something I want to ask your opinions on. Sullivan, I don't believe, same as you, that he has ever even heard of Tim Steidten. Now, I think he's been placed in there. They say that Steidten was talking to Man United. The one person that could have heard of him is Jim Ratcliffe. Do you think he could be lined up?
Yeah,
I like that.
See, that would be my ideal, the ideal situation for me. That would be.
Yeah, because he don't seem to be buying Man United. He don't seem to be moving forward. I'm just trying to join the dots here. He could possibly said when they were talking to Man United, I want to place that man in because I'm going to put a bid in, and maybe this is what I'm hoping for anyway. Is that someone like Ratcliffe comes in?
That's a great. That is a great dot to dot. That is. That sounds almost feasible, or very feasible.
Yeah, quite like that. Quite like that, Tony.
I'm adamant.
That'd be dreamland for me.
Yeah, I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm adamant that Steiden's there as a stooge for the new owners. I can't see any other reason.
There's no other logical explanation for. Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, for his appointment, and secondly, for what's happening after his appointment. This is weird as fuck. This committee thing, it just doesn't make any sense.
No.
Nothing makes any sense.
We know that he's supposedly a big character. He likes to be in charge. That's his role and all that. He ain't going to be taking that job and within weeks being told to not get involved or you're not important or whatever the phrase might be. So he's accepting it because he's there for the long term.
Yeah, he is. And just so people are clear, because also people are saying he's not a director of football, he's a technical director. It's exactly the same thing. I'll give you the definition of the role. Right. A technical director is responsible for overall management and strategic direction of the football aspects of a club. They oversee the club's operations, including player recruitment, coach development, performance analysis, sports science, and strategic planning. That is a director of football. It's the same fucking thing. So, and he's not doing that here. He is a technical director, but it almost feels like he's been brought in and he's being used at the moment in this current iteration anyway. Well, Sullivan and Moyes is there. It's like a scout, a head scout, maybe filling in for what Newman's done before. But I don't think it is that. I think he's just there to oversee it and say yes, no. Personally, I think that's what he's there to do.
I'll tell you what, Tony, you are the first one to make that link. If that turns out to be true, you own
it's unbelievable, isn't
it? Well, I think he's possibly put him in there, and I think you might see him flex his muscles with Moyes if we get a bad start, because I think if that what's his name? Ratcliffe is going to buy us. He's obviously going to want to buy a Premiership club, and I don't think he minds whether we just stop up this season.
No.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, Steiner might flex his muscles and get rid of Moyes if we get a bad start, and then he could play someone in there. With the squad we've got, I think we could just possibly stay up. And I'm with you, Gary. I think Dan should be given a bit of a go as well, and probably put Potts on the bench. I ain't saying throw him in, but he does look good. He does look good.
Yeah.
Mate, there's so many. There's
all about just staying up.
How many subs do you have on the bench now? 7 or 8, isn't it?
Loads.
8, I think it's 8. Yeah.
Potts. And
Bear in mind, 3 of them are always goalkeepers in a David Moyes subs bench. So.
Yeah, but then, well, yeah, that says it all. But then again, like I say, you're going to have Potts has looked good. I know it's only pre-season, you can't look too much into that. But again, like you say with Mabama, you could play him in cup games, see how he gets on.
Yeah. So you know your theory. We're applauding your theory. Well, someone in the chat, Black Country Ammo, is trying to suggest that he come up with it first, mate. So I don't know if you want to have words with him when you're tanking around the UK, mate. Go and have a word with him up there, all right?
I still ain't going to work, mate.
Black Country, though, did you link?
I'm the old ticker man, aren't I?
Oh, yeah. But Black Country, I don't think you link. You said keep an eye on the Man United situation. You didn't say link Jim Ratcliffe with Tim Stein.
He didn't link Ratcliffe with him. Yeah, he didn't, because Stein weren't here.
I mean,
he's making it uptone. He's making it uptone.
He's stealing your thunder. He is
trying to undermine you, Tony.
He's trying to steal me thunder, mate. Not having it. I'm a Cockney boy. I'm not far from you. I'm from Poplar. Used to knock about Myland back in the 60s and 70s.
So you,
I ain't no Black Country Hammer nicking the glory up of me.
How are you? Are you on the mend?
Yeah, I've just reapplied for my licence. I've got to do a 9-minute treadmill walk and all that, which I will do. Yeah, I feel good.
And then you're back tanking, yeah?
Back in the tanker.
September. I've just because my sick pay was running out, I've just told them to stick me 20 days holiday on the end of it, so I don't really lose any money.
Well, I hope it all goes well for you, mate. I hope it all goes well for you.
Yeah, cheers, lads. That's all I really wanted to say, and I'm hoping that's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Yeah, that was a brilliant call, mate. I mean, I must admit, I'd not thought about that.
It's my favourite conspiracy so far. I love that.
Well, listen.
But again,
something's going on. This is weird. The
Saudis would have. Yeah, but I don't think the Saudis would have possibly known about this Steiden. So not really. It's like a plaything to them, isn't it? But that Jim Ratcliffe is like a football man.
And
if that bloke was talking to Man United, he might say, "No, don't go in there. I want to put you in West Ham because I'm going to put in a bid for them."
And do you know what I like about this, Jim Ratcliffe? Basically, he's made his money. He's done his stuff. He wants a toy. That's what he wants now. He's a Man United fan, so obviously he wanted Man United. Yeah. But do you know what? I'll take that if he wants to come and join us. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. And he is Keiko Bako as well, Tony. He's got loads of money.
Keiko Bako, mate.
Yeah, he made his money in chemicals or something, didn't he?
Yeah. So he's got a massive personal fortune. But
I know a few people
who owns his worth a fortune.
I know a few people that made their money in chemicals as well.
It's better than Paul, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is.
I know. I'm not sure.
I'd just like to thank all the people putting up nice comments and that, and thank you.
Don't thank Black Country Hammer though. He's trying to steal all your fun. Oh look, he's come back. I named him a few months ago. Again, look. I named him a few months ago.
It's like Arsenal with our songs, and he keeps nicking other people's stories.
Relentless. No shame.
Typical yam he is. Should support Wolves.
Right. Anyway, Tony, I'm gonna thank you very much for the call. We're gonna. There is actually one more, so I'm gonna close it with Mr. Seabomb himself, Nolly. So Nolly's just phoned in, so I'm gonna get Nolly on the line.
All right, let's
good luck with the test, Tony. See you later.
Yeah, great show. And thanks for everyone for their nice comments. Thank you.
Yeah, and I honestly, mate, I hope it all goes well for you. You'll call back in next week anyway. We'll see how you're going. But it's but just hopefully you get your license back and you'll be back out on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, cheers, lads. Thanks a lot.
All right, cheers, mate.
Cheers.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. When I'm out in my cab and I see him drive past me, I can shout out, "What a tanker!"
Oh look, Ratcliffe, second richest man in the UK, 29 billion. Ooh.
He's worth lots of money.
I earned that in a week.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Hello, Nolly. How are you?
Oh, yeah, I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Good. Nolly,
Nolly,
turn your telly down again. You amateur.
All right, mate. Yeah, I know.
Every time.
Better? Is that better?
That's better. Yeah. I don't like listening to myself. I'm annoying. I annoy myself.
Listen, lads. Good to see you. I haven't spoken to you lot since we won that fucking cup.
No,
Happy days.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it certainly has. John looking good. Gal looking good.
Always.
You're the richest out of the three of them, aren't you, Gal? I think you are.
Yeah.
You're looking the richest out of the three of them. And Nick.
He's cake.
My
Gary's
favourite.
cake.
How are you, bud?
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. Are you doing well? How are you?
Listen, mate, I'm good. I'm really good. Also, I wanted to say was this, right? I don't know why, right, West Ham are the way we are, but the way I see it is this. If we bought Amrabat, who played Rice off the fucking field, right, in that final, they'll take 40 million. I reckon we could have him. Onana, another 40 million.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't, they're both sort of young, hard geezers. Why not? What, am I the only geezer that don't see it?
Amrabat's a proper player.
Absolutely. Because I'm not being. Listen, Amrabat played Rice off the park in the final.
Yeah, but
and
Amrabat's brother come out and said he wants a bigger team, didn't he?
Yeah, that is true. Apparently, he did say that, but he wants a bigger.
Yeah, but no one's come in for him, have they?
No.
Right? Nathan Gwerd, his Moroccan teammate, should be tapping him up.
Yeah.
He should be tapping him up.
Last week of the season, Tony. Last week of the transfer window.
That would be a tremendous signing. It would be a tremendous signing.
And Onana as well, right? Listen, if we went into Everton with him, 35 million, right, maybe 40, we'd have him, mate. And he's 23. Whether you like it or not, he's mustard.
He is.
Yeah, all right, he turned us down. Yeah, but he is mustard. Them two players, right? I think we're sorted. Keep Skamaka, keep Benny. Benny's fucking mustard. You know, fuck Mickey off because he's not good for the team, and get on with it.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Antonio thing. I do think that that is going to. Look, listen, I've got no bad feelings against Antonio. I think he's done his best for us. I think he's been a very good player. But I do think he very clearly wants his move now. He's coming towards the end. I think he's proved that he can be quite a disruptive influence as well. In the last 6 months, I think it would be a shame if it because I don't really listen as well. Antonio, I think if he left now, I think all would be forgiven with the podcast stuff. I think we'd remember him fondly. But I think if it carries on like this, because I think we're going to piss him off. I think if we keep him here, I think he's going to take it up a notch and he's going to start opening his mouth even more. It'd be a shame.
I want short of him.
Yeah, no, I know.
I think also, we're
what my mother-in-law used to say to me, "It's time to go."
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know Antonio wants to change the scenery. He needs some money. We know he's got personal issues. Antonio wants to go. Got to let him go. Got to let him go. We've got enough cover there. We've got enough cover there for the time being.
It's a bit worrying that Saudis don't want to pay a fee for him, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but they don't want to pay a fee for anyone because they're paying them such extortionate wages. So they're trying to get away with it that way around, didn't they? They're trying to get around.
How much do you reckon we could sell him for, though? I mean, he's 33, coming on 34.
He's worth about 6 million.
He's got 2 years.
Yeah,
he's
6
got 2 years in Saudi.
Yeah.
Right before, after that, then the tax thing goes. So he's got to be there for 2 years.
That's right. So
then he can bring the money back to England.
Yeah. So you're tax free for 2 years, but if you leave before 2 years, you have to pay the tax back, didn't you?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why people go for 2 years. Yeah.
We've got Skamaka. We've got Mabama.
Yeah. We've got enough there for the time being.
And if we get we do get that kid from Man City. Although I've got to be honest with you, right? 14 million, right? That's cheap, right? But we need players on the ground, right? I do not want to have what we had last year. Yeah. Oh, we got to bed them in. We got to bed them in. Before you know it, we're bottom of the fucking league.
That's going to happen. That's going to happen now anyway, because it's late. We're 3 weeks before the season starts. None of these new signings will be starting, mate. Whoever comes in now.
Happy Hammerette, in regards to Antonio, just quickly. Happy Hammerette says, hang on, sorry.
Hang on.
Antonio has been crap since we got in the long-awaited competition he wanted. He's going through a messy divorce now, so his head will be elsewhere.
And he needs the money. I think we all know that, don't we? It's like the worst kept bit of gossip going. He needs the money, so he's going to force it.
Listen, he ain't getting no sympathy off of me. Right, I've been through a few messy divorces. Yeah,
I can imagine.
The more fucking houses, dogs, golf club, fucking cars.
You lost your golf clubs. You lost your golf clubs,
yeah,
Nolly.
I did, mate. They all fucking went. I couldn't afford them when the fucking everything else went.
I heard you was shit anyway.
I wouldn't even let you have your 7 iron, so you could go and do a bit of pitch and putt.
John, I weren't. I was pretty good.
Oh, bloody hell. But so what do you see? Do you think there's any the conspiracy theory, Nolly, what we've been talking about here, where we've been saying Stighton isn't Sullivan, it is a new owner. Do you think there's anything in that yourself?
When he come in, right, I was obviously listening to you guys, I listened to Hammer's chat, and I thought to myself, right, he's going to change things around, this, that, and the other, right? And do you know what? There's just rock all has happened.
Yeah.
Rock all. Yeah. And I'm gutted that Moyes is going to be there at the start of the season. I'm gutted. I just think that geezers are I won't say it.
Careful.
Cunt is the word I'm looking for.
You had to drop it in there, didn't you?
Mate, you know it. Don't worry, I'll pay me penance.
No, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. No, don't worry about it. It's fine. Right. I used up my quota last week. I think I said it 3 or 4 times.
I know. I heard it, mate.
Yeah.
I loved it as well. you got to speak how you find, and the geezers are. Well, I ain't gonna say it. But
I only done that because Gary scheduled that show, and he forgot to schedule it.
I'll just say
it didn't matter anyway.
But very quickly, Nolly. Dexter Fletcher in the chat regarding your golf club said, on the bright side, his wife has lowered her handicap.
Oh, really? All right. Happy days. She should have had mine, mate. I paid a fortune for it. It gives you a better shape, a bad shot.
I'll tell you what, Spurs for life. I reckon what's happened is a Spurs fan has heard us say that we're one of the biggest clubs. I think it's all gone mental, and he's literally gone on a Spurs fan forum. We've got, hey, you'll never guess what? It's West Ham fan. And now we've got all these little fucking Spurs fans showing up. Look, they're outraged because we're massive. We're bigger than West Ham. Fuck off. Who's watching the West Ham fan channel, son?
I bet those fucking twins are going off. Those posh twins are going off.
I've got to say this, right? I knew he was going to lose Deck. Right? I knew it, right? But fucking hell, I didn't realise how fucking annoying Arsenal fans are.
Yeah.
What a load of fucking pricks they are, mate.
Yeah, big
they
time.
They really fucking are.
I've been telling you all for years.
They're the ones that brought him into being a good fucking footballer. Right? Yeah. We fucking did it. Like we did it with Ferdinand and Lampard and all that. Who have Arsenal ever brought up? They're just a lot of cunts. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Right, Nolly. That's the end of your C-bombs. No more.
It
no more.
Be the same without.
No more C-bombs.
Yeah, all right, mate. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
That's all right. That's fine.
Get right at my tits.
I know.
Get right at my tits.
I know.
But yeah, there you go. I suppose we'll go to Bournemouth more or less with a team we fucking finish the league with.
Well, without Rice, obviously, we won't have Rice.
Without Rice, and hopefully get a fucking draw there, and it will go from there, won't it?
Yeah, we've got such a horrible start to the season, though.
Those first five games are, not
positive.
They're easy. They're easier than the ones we had last year. So, lads, it's I'm a Moyes out. Yeah,
so am I. I know. I think
we built a wall. We built a wall to keep them fuckers out, and he's running our fucking team.
He's attacking all Scottish people now.
No.
but no. I think with yeah, I don't know. I don't know how long he's going to get. I mean, if it goes bad, right? Because this is my worry. If he didn't get sacked last year, with how bad that was, because it was bad, right? It was bad last season. If he didn't get sacked then, how bad has it got to get, do you reckon? How bad do you reckon it'll have to get this season? If it is bad, how bad would it have to be for him to get the sack now?
Well, if Stuyden's sitting behind him watching it all, maybe he's going to have less. Maybe he's going to have less opportunity to fuck it up now because if
Sullivan
to be believed,
contract, will he?
What?
Sullivan is a tight. I can't say to see.
Yeah, big time. Yes, he is.
Sullivan's a tight, and he won't pay up his contract. He'll let it run down, and he'll let the club run down.
Yeah,
Fucking hit.
He is,
mate. Do you know what I mean?
He is.
He will react if it gets to the point where there's, it's kind of a point of no return. Which, to be fair, last season we nearly reached. I think the Fulham game. Had we lost that Fulham game, I think he gets the ball.
He saved his own job. This is the thing with him. What you got to give him a talent for?
Yeah, but he did it 2 or 3 times.
He's done it 2 or 3 times.
He?
He's a fucking expert at it. Them last-ditch jobs. He is. Yeah, he manages to get them over the line. He's like a wasp at a barbecue, and he's a fucking pest. He just won't go away.
Like, we're all West Ham supporters, right? We never want our team to lose. But that Lampard game, right? I was half thinking to myself, do you know what? If we get turned over here, am I going to be that upset if he goes? Probably not as much as I would.
Yeah,
you know
I think it was always in the back of our mind, wasn't it? You didn't want it to happen, but if it happened, it would be,
probably done us a favour in the long run, Gary. But there you go.
Yeah, I know.
Look at this. Look at this Spurs for life. Look,
he's losing it. Look.
Look, we won't get Mbappe. You lost to us to Arsenal.
We won't get Mbappe, but you lost to Arsenal, though. And we almost a decade of continuous Champions League football. How many wins do West Ham have?
You know that's how that cunt talks.
He does. Definitely does.
Listen, mate, when they lose Kane to Bayern Munich, when they lose Kane to Bayern Munich, the only thing they're going to wear in Europe is the fucking Eurovision Song Contest because they're fucking useless.
Yeah.
We're playing handball now, handball. Fucking Ange Postecoglou. But anyway, mate, Nolly, it's been a pleasure, mate. We're going to close it up because I've got an early start.
Cheers, Nolly.
Take it easy.
There you go. Nice.
See you later,
mate. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Good night, lads. Good night.
Good night. That's funny. That's funny.
Oh dear.
I like that.
They're so sensitive, aren't they?
That is such a good way to respond to opposition comments. God.
What's that?
Just put a funny voice on. Just read them out word for word.
I know.
Imagine him punching his keyboard.
I am incandescent with rage.
So angry. Anyone got a bagel?
Mum, he's having a go at me.
Mum, can I have a salt beef bagel, please? Right hump.
Yeah.
Rightio, Gary, close it down.
Yeah. Thanks all. A lovely big audience tonight, haven't we? So we'll be back in the week, no doubt, with lots of lovely news about our new signings. We?
Might have a 2 hammers or 2 as well. So we'll do the rambles. Might have a 2 hammer show as well next week.
Yeah, we'll see how the week unravels.
Yes,
indeed.
Anyway, until next time, see you soon. Come on, you irons.
And this is for the Tottenham fan in the chat.
Wicked, jungle is massive. Wicked, West Ham are massive. Wicked, jungle is massive. Wicked, yo.